All right. Welcome everyone today to the free career makeover session. We've given enough time for people to sign on. I can see that people are still coming on, but if we continue to wait, we will not, we will lose time, and we have a lot to do today. So I'm going to do what I usually do, and I'm going to just get on with things and get started with the meeting. So I'd like to say a big welcome to everyone who has come in. Thank you to everyone who came early. Welcome everyone. And I would just basically like to go over just a second. I have some echo somewhere. I can see that people are still coming on, but if we continue to wait, we will not. We will lose time, and we have a lot to do today. And I'm going to just get on with things. And sorry. I had some echo somewhere. All right, so I'm just going to get on with things, and we're going to start with today's class. Today, we're going to be talking about how to make a life-transforming next-level career move. All right, and yeah, I promise this to be a very good time. We had a very good time with the last cohort. We met here in January. And we really, discussed a lot of stuff. I will try and see if I can do a quick recap. Some people have asked for us to do that. So I will do a quick recap before we go into the topic of today. But essentially what we're here to talk about today is how to make a life-transforming next-level career move. This class it was supposed to start at 5 o'clock, but because we gave time for people to come, we're going to start at 5:10. And then we are normally here for 2 hours. In January, we were here for 2 hours. I always beg for people to stay, because I promise you that what we are going to learn here today is going to be worth it for you to stay here for 2 hours. I mean, in the last class that we had, everyone came on, we stayed on, and we were here asking questions. And then, we left after that, asking and answering questions, and we left after that. So let me just quickly proceed with an introduction. But before I do that, I kind of want to have an idea of who is in the room. All right. So I'd like you to pop in the chat. If you've noticed, you're not going to be able to unmute your mics for now. And I'll explain what I've done with that and why I have done that as we go on. But so that we can get started and, everybody kind of knows who is in the room and who's not in the room, can we just quickly pop in the chat who is here? Just introduce yourself. Tell us where you've come from. We've had so many people who registered for this program. Most of us are from Nigeria, I know that. But, we have some people who registered from Ghana. We have some people who registered from Kenya, some people who registered, I think, from where was it from? I think from South Africa or something like that. All right. And we know that we also have people from all over Nigeria. So it would be great to know where you're from. So if you could just pop into the chat, your name, where you come from. Hi, Aisha. Hi, how are you? Aisha, how are you doing? How's everything with you? Good. Irene, welcome back. It was lovely to have you the last time. Hi, Irene. How are you? Hi, Ifai. Hi, Ifai. Hi, how are you? I see some of my good friends out there, some of my Tiffany buddies out there. I see Ramachu is there. I see Issa is there. Yes, I saw you when I came in. Hi, David. Hi, how are you from Timokea? Hi, how are you? Hi, Simi. Hi, how are you? Hi, Ebon. Hi, how are you? Hi, it's Abuja. I hear it's very hot in Abuja. Emma, how are you? My namesake. How are you doing? How's everything with you? Jumoke, how are you doing from Lagos? Hello, Zainab Garba. How are you? Signing in from Kano. Nice to have you over here. Fantastic. Excellent. Right. Anyone else who is out there who would just like to sign in and let us know who they are? Excellent. Dolakwa, how are you doing? Good. Great to have you here. Ogechi, how are you doing? How are you doing? Good. Good to see you again. Hi, Kemi. Hi, how are you? Oichi from Abuja. Hi, how are you? Zaka, how are you doing? Great to see that you're dialing in from Abuja. Great. So we want to kick off. We want to get started. Biodu, hi, how are you from Lagos? Hi, Ogam. Yeah, I heard so. Someone told me today, I used to live in Abuja, so I keep my eye on what is going on in Abuja. Someone told me that, wow, Abuja is really hot right now. So yeah. Welcome. It's hot here too in Lagos, but I don't think it's as hot as it is in Abuja. All right. Hi, Ramatu. How are you doing? My Tiffany sister, how are you doing? And thank you for signing on early. All right, so we want to get started. And since you have all been nice enough to introduce yourself, sorry if I haven't said hello to you, I will say hello to you later. Hi, Emeka, how are you doing? Regina, hi, how are you? All right, so I will, take some time to look at the chat again and say hello to people as time goes on. Esther, hi, how are you? And I want to just get started. So I always get started with just telling you a little bit about myself. My name is Emma Clark. I am the organizer of this program. I'm the founder of the organization called Learn with Emma Clark. This is our February series of the free career makeover session. I'm happy to have everyone here on board, and thank you for everyone who has signed in so far. I'd just like to tell you a little bit about myself. I am a woman who wears many different hats. That's what I always like to tell people. At the heart of it, I am a human resource and organizations professional. I am also a leadership and career development coach. I am a certified teacher of English to speakers of other languages. And I am a headhunter. I spend a lot of time. So I operate across the entire spectrum of the HR value chain in the consulting sector. All right, but I tend to spend a lot of my time in coaching, mentoring, training, headhunting, and then consulting. All right, so that's me in a nutshell. Where did I train? I trained at the London School of Economics and Political Sciences, where I studied a master's in human resources and organizations. And I trained there as a British Chevening scholar. So that's why I'm greeting some of my brothers and sisters that I can see that have come here to support me today. And I'm very grateful for that. I also have a postgraduate certificate in teaching English to speakers of other languages from the University College Institute of Education. And then I always jokingly say this, that when I remember this, my mom is on this line today, so I know she's going to be upset with me after for saying this, but I always say that when I remember this, I am also at the heart of it, a lawyer. All right. So I studied at the Obafemi Awolowo University in Ife, and I also studied at the Nigerian law school. So I'm happy to have a lot of you on here, and I can assure you that you're going to learn a lot from my vast experience. I've had about 28 years of training, of experience. Sorry, not training. I've had about 28 years of experience. 10 of those years were spent in the banking industry, and then 18 have been spent in consulting and entrepreneurship. And, I love life. This is what I always tell people. I love life. I'm a very happy person. I love life. I have passion for life. I have a passion for what it is that I do. And, I love people. I love helping people. And then, I always say to people, I tell people this, that, they find it very amusing. But I always tell people this, that, one of the things that I love to do, I love fashion designing, I love traveling, I love seeing the world, I love reading, I love writing. But one of the things that I love to do when when I want to relax and I want to take my mind off things is to watch Nollywood movies. So I absolutely love Nollywood movies. I know it, so yeah, I was one of the first people to go and watch King of Boys when it came out, right? So I absolutely love movies, Nollywood movies, and this is me in a nutshell. All right, so just a couple of housekeeping rules so that you will then also understand why we have certain things in place within the meeting room right now. Mics will be muted on entry. They have been muted on entry. That's why you can't unmute your mics. And it's not because we want to be soldiers here or anything like that. No. The reason is because from experience, what we have found out is that people sometimes have great difficulties, muting their mics during a meeting session. So we have had meetings before previously where, the facilitator is in the middle of, presenting or discussing, and then somebody unmutes the mic, and then before you know it, there is noise. You can't get the person to mute their mics. So what we have done and what we always do in this situation is to mute the mics, all right, so that we don't have that kind of noise coming in. So does that mean we have silenced you? No. What will happen is this. We like to have some order. We like to have some organization. If you want to talk, all right, I'm a very interactive person. I like to get people talking. I like to interact with people. I don't want to be the only one who's talking during this session. If you want to talk, what we're going to ask you to do is to unmute your mic, all right? And sorry, to raise your hand. And then once you raise your hand, my handy assistant, Monica, who is out there, will unmute you, and then you'll be able to speak. And then, of course, you can also use the chat room. The chat room is a wonderful place to be able to, put your comments or to respond to whatever it is, and it works. I can assure you of that. All right. So please raise your hand anytime you want to speak. Sometimes I will answer you immediately. Sometimes I will say, just hold on a minute, because as I said, we have a lot to do today. So I may say to you, hold on a minute, I'm in mid-sentence. We will talk about this later on. I will call you later on to talk about this. All right. And then I want to encourage you, please keep your answers very brief. All right. If we give you that opportunity to speak during this presentation, and as I said, we want to give as many people as possible an opportunity to express themselves. So if you have to communicate during this presentation, just keep your answers as short as possible. And then, of course, have fun, enjoy yourself, and make sure you network. All right, because time has gone. Usually what happens is that when we start a session, we go into the breakout room, we network, and we meet each other. We want to push on today, okay, because of time. So possibly what will happen is at the end of the session, if there's still people who wait behind, we will have our breakout session, all right? So that we can at least network and get to know each other, because as I always say, I always complain when I go for a lot of these events. I say, look, well, I've spent 2 hours, I've spent 1 hour on the platform, but at the end of the day, I didn't get to meet one single person, all right? So we want people to network with each other. We have a Telegram group that we have opened. I'm trying very desperately now to make sure that I get people to talk and to connect with each other and to share with each other, because it's within your network. Progress happens. One of the places where you're going to find that progress happens is within your network. So you should always strive to connect and to communicate with people. So what are we going to be doing today? What is our agenda? We need to push on. We've said we've come here today to talk to you about career transformation. And I'm so happy about those people who have been able to come today, who have made it. You didn't just register. You registered and you actually came. And you came because you are interested in career transformation. There must be some burning issue on your mind, all right, concerning career transformation that is affecting you, and that is why you are here today, all right? And I assure you that you're going to learn a lot about career transformation, all right? So what is our agenda? We're going to learn about career management and next level career transformation. All right, so it's not just transformation. We also want to think about how we're going to push our careers to the next level. We're also going to look at methods of managing and transforming our careers. We're going to look at, approaches to developing our own career handy pack. All right, and then we're going to have practical insights on career development. So the way that it's going to go is this. There are 2 speakers on today. I am here right now, Emma, and then I'm going to have my very good friend, Jane Egerton-Idehe, join us from Ireland, and she is going to come and put some practical, because if there's anyone I know who has been very successful at transforming her career, that is Jane, all right? So we're going to have Jane on board, and she's going to come here to share a lot with us when I finish this presentation. So that is the content, all right? That is what we're going to be talking. That's the overview of the contents that we're going to look at, all right? So you can see that. I've done the brief introduction. I'll do a very quick recap of the January session. I will then push on to talk to you about career management and transformation. I will look at the steps, all right, that we advise you to take for effective career transformation. And then we will talk very briefly about the Learn with Emma Clark Career Handy Pack. And then Jane will come and give you practical insights. She's raring to go. Jane used to work here in Nigeria, and she has moved from Nigeria now to Dublin, where she's working with Meta, one of the biggest global companies in the world. So we'd like to hear from Jane about how she did that. Okay, sometimes it's very good to hear from people who have actually succeeded at doing this, so that you know that this is not all theory. There is actually a practical side to this, and there are people who are actually leveraging on this, and they're doing this. All right. Now, so what did we talk about in the January session last month? Very, 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 very quickly. We went through 3 things. I gave people an overview of careers, and we talked about many things. We talked about the difference between a career and a job. We talked about the career path, what a career path is all about. We talked about career progress versus career growth, all right? We talked about career planning. We talked about career pitfalls. We looked at pitfalls, all right? We talked very deeply about the subject of career pitfalls. And as we talked about it, we found out that a lot of people, all right, are in a pitfall at the moment, all right? So we talked about the different pitfalls, which are career stagnation, career dissatisfaction, career peaking, career unfolding, all right? So these were some of the things that we talked about yesterday, last month. And then we also talked about how, we can start that process, all right? We talked about career planning and how we can, go through that process of career planning, all right? Because one of the things that we said was that when you do your career planning properly, you will overcome those career pitfalls and avoid falling into some of the pitfalls that we often encounter in our career. So we want to go straight to today's topic. There is a video for last February's session. I sent it along with the email that I sent to everyone. And my hope was that a lot of people would watch it. Well, I know that people are still, I see the numbers going up on the YouTube channel. All right. My hope was that people would watch it so that you would have that background of what we talked about in the January session. But Monica, can you just pop that video link again so that later on those people who have not watched it can go and watch it? I promise you that every single thing that I've just listed out, you will find in that video. I've explained everything there in detail, and you will be able to follow what it is that we talked about in the January session. And I'd really like to encourage you to watch that video. It's not even a public video, so don't think I'm trying to get views on YouTube. I just want you to watch that video so that if you are in a career pitfall, you really understand. In that video, I explained in detail what the career pitfall is all about, so that if you are in a career pitfall, you will know how to come out of it. All right, so let's get on with the topic of today. We're going to be talking about career transformation and why it is important. I think some of you may be wondering, why is it that Emma has started to have these programs, free programs? It's simple, really. A lot of people contact me, whether by LinkedIn, social, Instagram, Facebook. Emma, I need help with this. Can you do my CV? Can you help me transform my career? And for those of you who, a lot of you who contact me, I'm sure that you've gotten used to the standard answer that I give, which is, sorry, I have a lot on my plate. I cannot handle things. Maybe some other time I will have, a group program, and then I will be able to address this. So I started it because of that, because the demand from, people who kept on asking me for help with CVs, with careers, with this was just getting too much. So I said, you know what, I will devote one Saturday out of my month to helping people. All right. So that's, how this got started. So let's get on with the topic of today, which is career transformation. And we want to talk about why it is important. We want to talk about, first of all, what it's all about. And then we also want to talk about why it is important. Now, what is career transformation? Career transformation is a change in your career, which is usually marked by progress, growth, advancement, and transitions that lead to the next level. All right. So that is what, career, when we're talking about career transformation, that is what it is all about. All right. So it's not just, we're planning our career. We're also planning our careers so that we transform, so that we experience growth, so that we experience progress, so that we experience advancement, and so that we're able to transition into those amazing next level moves that give us some happiness, joy, money, and all the success it is that we're looking for in life. So we said on this last chart that it's all about next level moves. Ultimately, it's all, and that's why I said to Jane, come. Jane, I want you to come because you're one person who knows how to make next level career moves. It's all about making those moves. How do you make those moves? All right. So a career move is a change that you make in order to get a better job or to have a better success. So it's all about mobility, those moves. All right. So it's not just about moving. This is one thing that I want you to be clear about. It's not just about moving. It's also about moving in a way, all right, that makes you what? grow higher every time. All right. So that every time you look at the last step that you took, you know that, you know what, that step led me to a better step. All right. So that is what career movement is all about. Moving from one step to the other and moving in such a way that you are increasing and not decreasing. All right. You're moving in such a way that you're increasing and you are not decreasing. All right. So why is career transformation essential? Why is it, why is it that we need to talk about this topic at all? I mean, why is it that we have to gather here on a Saturday when we could be doing something else with our lives? All right. First of all, career transformation is essential because it helps us to overcome career pitfalls. Last January, we talked about career pitfalls. And one of the things I said to people is that just imagine a pit, a gutter. That's the best way to imagine a career pitfall. Think of a gutter. And I said to them, think of Lagos smell. I know we have smelly gutters all around Nigeria, but I think if you want to have the smelliest, you're looking for the smelliest gutters, in Nigeria, just come to Lagos, you'll find them, all right? Even in the nicest areas. And I said, think of that gutter. Think of the smelliest, dirtiest gutter that you can imagine, and think of yourself inside that gutter. That is what a career pitfall is. Entering a place where you can't get out of. And we talked about career stagnation, that aspect of your life where you are in one place, you cannot move. Every morning you get up, you see the same thing, you go to bed, you wake up the next morning, you see the same thing. That is the career stagnation. We talked about career peaking, that place where you get to where you've been moving, and then you get to a certain stage where you can't move anymore and you're stuck. And year after year, month after month, you are there, you are stuck, you cannot move. We talked about career dissatisfaction, and we talked about a situation. We said career dissatisfaction is the kind of situation you get into where, yeah, you're in a good job, you're earning a lot of money, you're making some headway in your life, but you know what? If you're honest with yourself, you are unhappy. You are unhappy with that place that you're in, and you hate what it is that you're doing. Sorry, please give me a second. Sorry about that. My battery was giving me bad signals. All right, so we're saying to you that career transformation is all about helping you to overcome the career pitfalls. Those pitfalls. You are dissatisfied, you're earning millions of naira, but at the end of the day, you hate your job. All right. And then we also talked about career unfolding. You're unfolding, life just happens to you. Things just happen to you. Unexpected things, unplanned things just happen to you that make you have to give up your career or make you have to slow down your career. However, if you are able to plan properly and you're able to understand the principles of career transformation, it will help you to overcome those pitfalls. All right. Career transformation also helps to re-energize you. All right. It helps you to keep energized. It helps to motivate you. It also helps to rejuvenate your career. Some of you need to rejuvenate your career. You need some inspiration. You need some changes in your life, all right? Because your career right now is dead, all right? So some of you need to have some rejuvenation in your career. And that is exactly what the career transformation, why career transformation is essential. All right, so we said career transformation ultimately, all right, is marked by next level moves. You're moving, there's mobility, there's a lack of stagnancy in your life, there's a lack of peaking, there's a lack of dissatisfaction. So it's important for me at this stage to let you know that there are two types of career moves. You have good career moves and you have bad career moves, all right? So I want you to keep your eye on the goal. Your goal is to always have good career moves. Your goal is to make sure that you avoid bad career moves. Because the truth and the fact of the matter is that if you make one bad career move, it only takes one bad career move to result in a complete career meltdown. All right? So remember, there are good moves, there are bad moves. So you must always keep your eye on the ball and ensure that you avoid making bad career moves. So what are the good moves? What are the, or what is the, how can we, let me rephrase it like this, all right? What are the elements of a good career move? What are the elements of a bad career move? What are the signs and symptoms of good career moves? What are the signs and symptoms of bad career moves? All right, so if you're making good career moves, then and I really want you to start to think about this. All right, I'm going to pause for a minute after I have talked a little bit about this, and just I want to hear from the audience. Okay, what is a good career move all about? When we see promotions in your life, we see pay increase, we see job and work satisfaction, you're experiencing rich fulfillment, you are happy, you have a sense of achievement, you have an achievement of purpose, you feel that you are achieving something in your life. There is work-life balance, or at least some element of work-life balance. You are motivated, you are engaged, all right? You're in a good work environment where you have colleagues that support you, you have a boss that supports you, you have subordinates that look up to you, that love you, that enjoy you. I was looking at WhatsApp the other day, and I opened WhatsApp and I saw this advertisement of a man that people were celebrating, and they were saying, oh, thank God, this man has gone. It was like an obituary. We are happy to announce the departure of so and so boss, and they put so many terrible things that this boss had done to them throughout his stay there. And I was like, I don't know whether this is a joke, but if it is real, good grief, what is it that boss is doing to his employers that made them, to his subordinates and employees, that made them talk about him that way? So that is a good career move. Bad career moves, what are the signs? Demotion. Parallel moves, you're always moving at the same level. So you are an AM somewhere, when you move, you're an AM, parallel moves. Pay decrease or poor pay advancement, all right? Job dissatisfaction, depression or unhappiness, a lack of fulfillment, non-achievement, demotivation, a poor work environment, what we call career burnout, you're totally burnt out, or career meltdown, which is total destruction, all right? Total destruction or destabilization of your career. All right, so I just want to hear from you, because I don't want it to be like as if it's only Emma who is talking. I love to interact. I love for us to get to know each other. We can't just be here and then I'm the only one who is talking. I'd love to hear from you. I've put some things on the board. I've talked about good career moves. I've talked about bad career moves. And I've shown you the signs and I've shown you the symptoms. I'd like to hear from you. Where do you think you are right now? Where do you think you are right now? Monica, I've heard that. I will do that soon. Where do you think you are right now? You can put it in the chat, or you can raise your hand and I will mute your mic, and then you can just speak. Are you making good career moves, or are you making bad career moves? And what do you think is causing it? Are you making good career moves? Ifeanyi, thank you very much. Ifeanyi says a bad career. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to unmute the mic. All right, and Monica, can you do that for me? Just a bit. Can you do that for me very quickly, Monica? Can you unmute the mics? Can you hear me, sure. Monica? Yeah, could you unmute the mic so that I'm not distracted with that? Okay. So Ifeanyi said he says he's made bad moves. Ifeanyi, I'd like to hear from you. Would you like to speak? Would you like to unmute your mic and just speak? You said you've made a bad career move. Why is that? Can you tell me?
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Ifeanyi, how are you? Go right ahead.
Okay. Why I said it's the wrong career move I made from my previous job to where I am now. It's almost the previous one was more better, the pay was better, and the work environment was much better. It's just that I have to leave where I was before. I didn't have any choice. Yeah.
Thank you. So we're going to talk about a little bit more about that as we go along. Ifeanyi, thank you so much. Ifeanyi says he's made a bad career. All the things that I put there, they're showing up. All right. A lot of the stuff that I talked about there, they're showing up. All right. Daniel, I love that. Daniel, you're back here. This so lovely to have you back, in the room. Daniel says, good career moves. I'm happy to hear that. Chisholm says good, but still room for improvement. Amara says good career at this time, but I am open for improvement. Fantastic, excellent. So we're seeing two types of people here. We're seeing some people who are saying, you know what, right now I'm making some excellent career moves. And then we're seeing one, Zainab has said bad career move, but trying to move out. I hope that after this session, you will get enough information that will enable you to move out, all right? And then if you watch the last video too, you'll be able to get a lot of information there. We talked about self-assessment and how self-assessment and planning, articulating, all of these things can help you to actually get out of a bad career move. All right, Caroline says, right now, I don't even have a job. I declined an offer to work in my husband's company. When he fired me last month, but I don't understand that you declined an offer and then he fired you. He didn't fire you, actually. He didn't take up the offer in the first place. It means that he withdrew his offer, all right? And maybe it's for the best so that the marriage can continue. All right. Thank you. My big brother, Yomi Agiri, is here. Thank you so much. And he says there are times we take a pause to balance some other things. For example, family considerations. And Yomi, we're going to talk about that. I am so glad my senior in the profession is here. We're going to talk about that, how you have to sometimes take a pay cut because you have all sorts of tensions in your life. I have made plans to talk about that. All right. So it's good to hear feedback from all of you. All right. And at this point, I just want to expand my discussion on bad career moves just for a little bit and just for a little while, and then talk. Aisha, wonderful, great career moves. Yeah. And then talk about the types of bad career moves. Monica, please, can you mute the mics again? We want to talk about types of bad career moves. Monica, please, could you mute the mics? Types of bad career moves, just examples that I will give you. Yes. All right, so often this is what, because sometimes people ask me, they say, Emma, what causes bad career moves? And I've just given some examples. There are lots of examples. Number one, excessive adventurism, where you just want to try everything. I mean, there gets to a point where you must say, you tried this, you tried that, you tried this, you tried that. Pick one. All right. All right. Okay. All right. So there are different types of career moves. All right. Different types of, bad career moves. And I just like to talk about some very quickly so that you are aware of them and you avoid them as much as possible. Excessive adventurism. All right. You're just too much of an adventurer. Everything is adventure for you. You want to try this. You want to go into tech. You want to go into that. You want to go into that. There comes a time in your career when that must stop. And you've got to pick that one thing or one or two things that you want to focus on in your life. All right. Now, taking a job that is much less than your current status. My brother just mentioned it now. He said sometimes you have to take a pay cut. You have to do certain things. All right. Just to balance out the career and just to balance out the family. But the truth and the fact of the matter is that you've got to watch that. Because even sometimes when you do that, I mean, sometimes there are things that happen in life, and we're going to talk about that. All right. That necessitates you're having to take that pay cut, all right? And we will talk about that, but you've got to watch that. You've got to be very careful about that. And the fact that you even have to take a pay cut in the first place means that something has gone wrong. Something is going wrong that you didn't plan for and that you didn't watch out for that has resulted in you having to take that pay cut. All right, taking a one chance job. There are jobs that are one chance. You know what one chance is? One chance is that thing that that happens to you when you get into a bus and you get into a taxi and you don't know that the taxi is full of thieves and bad people who want to take your life and they want to take everything, and then they end up taking they end up stealing from you, they end up plundering you, they end up taking everything from you. There are jobs that are like that. I call them one chance jobs. There are one chance jobs and you've got to avoid those jobs as much as possible. Emma, have you entered a one chance job before? Yes, I've entered the one chance job before, and it is the worst kind of place that you ever want to be in. I was talking to a mentee of mine the other day. She called me, she was just saying to me, she might be on this program, in fact, she was saying to me there are certain things, I won't mention her name because she was, I won't go into the details of what she told me either, but she was talking to me about her job. And at the end of the day, when she finished, we spoke for like 1 hour, and I said to her, my sweetheart, you're in a one chance job, and we now have to look at how we are going to get you out of that job. All right. Unplanned resignation. All right, just resigning anyhow. You're tired of the job. And I'm not saying that there are times that there are not times when you get to a place in your life when you have to do a job because the job is just killing you. All right, but you also need to be careful about that, how you go about doing that. All right, taking a job where there's no obvious career advancement, and then taking a job where you're exposed to the dark side of human resources management. All right, the dark side of business. There is a whole area of study in human resources management called the dark side, where you just sit down and you study the dark side. All right, things like discrimination. I had a friend of mine who took a job, and it was a fantastic job. The pay was in his mind. The pay was fantastic. Everything was fantastic about the job. He was just like, Emma, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me since sliced bread. Then he encountered the dark side. He encountered the dark side of discrimination, black on black discrimination. And he was like, because his boss was from one country, I won't mention the name of the country, he was from Nigeria. His boss hated everybody from Nigeria, and then war started. And at the end of the day, I think they rebased his salary, the so-called fantastic salary went down like 3 times. By the time his pay was cut like 3 times, based on this issue of discrimination, all right? He had to, he had to leave the job, all right? Because he was really on the dark side, all right? So these are the kind of career moves you want to avoid. So you've got to ask yourself, anytime you're making a career move, what is happening? What is going on? Is this the right move or is this the wrong move? All right. Now, what is a good career move? A good career move is purposeful, it's calculated, it's deliberate, and it's the outcome of careful planning and careful mapping. So I'll go over that again. It is purposeful, it is calculated, it is deliberate, and it is the outcome of planning and careful mapping. So I'm going to talk about that. These are the highlights of career. These are the things that make your career transform, that make your career change from one level to another level. All right? I mean, look, there is no point 10 years down the line in you being on the same spot that you were 10 years back. If you are still on the same spot that you were 10 years ago, something is wrong. We need to start checking it. All right? So the truth is this. All right, we don't have time. I was going to have a little bit of a question and answer session. We don't have time. I've got to go through this so that our guest is able to come on and make her presentation. All right? You've got to keep at the back of your mind all the time. You've always got to keep asking yourself, are you transforming or are you regressing? All right? And then you've always also got to sit down and ask yourself, if you are transforming, what are the keys to that transformational success? If you are going backwards, what is the reason for that regression? All right. So at some other time, maybe we will talk about that. As I said, I've opened the Telegram group and I'm looking at how I'll be able to get, like, even if it's one hour, even 30 minutes off during a week, to just chat with people and talk about some of these issues that we're not able to cover during the slides. We'll try and do that on the Instagram group. All right. So we've talked about the fact that this thing is about what? Planning and mapping. We talked a lot about planning during the last session. All right. So if you want to know more, if you were not in the last session and you want to know more about planning, please go to the last video, watch it, and you will learn about planning, step-by-step career planning. Now, if you want here, also go back to that last video and you'll also be able to understand how to go over to those steps that will take you to effective career planning. Today, what we want to focus on is mapping, because it's not enough to plan. You must also map your career. Some of us had issues with our career because we did not plan properly, we did not map properly. Some people have planned, but they have not mapped. All right? So today we're going to be talking about mapping. I'm going to show you how mapping can help you to ensure that you are constantly transforming your life. You're constantly transforming your life. All right. So what is career mapping? All right. It is a personal journey. When we finish with this whole thing, I'm going to give you a book. Career mapping is such a serious subject that in Oxford, it is taught in the business school. When you go to when you apply to do an executive MBA or any other type of MBA at Oxford, they're going to take you through that session on career mapping. They bring in a specialist to talk about career mapping, all right, because it's very important. Technically speaking, as HR managers, when we employ staff, The first thing, we employ people into the organization. One of the first things that you are supposed to do is to go through this session on career mapping. Where do you think your journey, how do you think your journey is going to progress? What do you want, from your life, and how is our organization going to help you to achieve those things that you say you want from your life and your career? But a lot of HR managers don't do this, all right? So at the end of the day, you employ a lot of people, you put round pegs in square holes and vice versa, all right? At the end of the day, you have a bunch of unhappy staff who are disengaged and highly demotivated, all right? So let's talk about career mapping. What is it? It's a personal journey map that describes your ideal or preferred career movement. How do you want to move? Look, if you want to go, I said this in the last class, if you want to go from here, or I live, in a particular part of Lagos, and I know for sure, everybody knows me. Any driver who wants to take me out, anyone who is close to me knows. If I want to go anywhere, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up my phone, and I'm going to go to Google Maps, and I'm going to map my journey. In fact, most of the time I do it the night before. I'm mapping the journey. I want to know which, because in Lagos, you can't, when I lived in Abuja, it was okay. I could afford to do whatever it is that I wanted because the traffic in Abuja is not as bad as Lagos. But in Lagos, you have to really, really be sure of how you're moving, what time you're moving, and when you're going to move. So think of your mapping in that manner. Mapping helps you to determine how you're going to move, when you're going to move, all right? What time it is you are going to move, all right? Who will help you to move? This is what mapping is all about. It's your personal journey map that describes your ideal or preferred career movement and advancement plan, and that articulates in detail how that movement or advancement will happen. That is what a career map is all about, all right? And the truth and the fact of the matter is this, career mapping is very helpful. How can it help you? Number one, it helps you to plot your career journey, like I said. It helps you to plan and position. My dear brother said something the other day that sometimes you have to take a course and all of that. And yes, sometimes I have to help people do that. Sometimes when I'm working with people, I'm coaching and I'm mentoring people, and we look at their careers, we talk about, I say to them, you know what, my dear sister, my dear brother, you have peaked. The only way you can maneuver your way out of this problem is to go down a little bit before you go up. But from my experience of doing this, what have I discovered? All right, what have I discovered from my experience of doing this? The truth is this: if you had correctly mapped and planned your career, if you had correctly mapped, if you had correctly planned, you've done your self-assessment very well, all right, and then you had mapped your career properly, it's very unlikely that you would have, that you will wind up in that situation where you have to go down before you go up. All right, so that is my answer to that statement, okay? And if you're correctly mapping things, even if you have children and you have a mother and you have people that you have to look after, if you are mapping it correctly, at the end of the day, all right, you will be able to overcome some of the challenges that you might face because of these tensions that that you could face in your life. All right. Now, career mapping also helps you to time your movement. Timing is very crucial. All right. If you get your timing wrong, you could end up in one chance, and that could what cause you to go into what I talked about earlier on, which is a career meltdown. And you want to avoid, look, I have encountered many people who have had career meltdowns. But some career meltdowns can have an impact on your brain, on your mind, all right? They can send you to a place where you don't want to go to, all right? Career meltdowns can result in burnout, mental fatigue, so many different things, all right? Can destroy your marriage, it can result in so many things, okay? So, I was telling somebody the other day, and I think I said it in the last class too as well. We spend so many hours. When you look at 24 hours in a day, how many hours do we spend in the workplace environment? So if you do that chart of your life, you will find that most of your time is spent where? It is actually spent pursuing your career. So you've got to take care of that part of your life. Make sure it's on lockdown. Because if you don't take care of that part of your life, you might end up combusting. All right? And then when you combust, it could have serious impact on various aspects of your life. So what are the key considerations when we're thinking about career mapping? Number one, doing yourself. You cannot start mapping. As I said, please go and watch the first video. You can't start mapping without doing your self-assessment. You need to do your self-assessment test, all right? And what did we talk? We said, what is a self-assessment test? A self-assessment test helps you to visualize your life. It helps you to see your life for what it is. By the time you do the self-assessment, it helps you to visualize and then set goals. You know what? This is where I want to be. In 2 years, I want to be here. This is my passion in life. Or, you know what, this is not really now about passion. This is about certain things that I need to do to have security around me, all right? And this is how I'm going to this is what I visualize about my life. For me to have this vision come to pass, this is what I'm going to have to do to bring that vision to pass, all right? So you've got to do that set. On the Telegram group, I give, unfortunately, if you don't attend the courses, now I'm even being easier. I give the videos out to everybody. But the Telegram, well, at least everybody who registers. The Telegram, you have to be on the Telegram group to get the materials, because I give them all the materials and all the things they will need to be able to do their set. So please, 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 please watch the video. You will be able to understand what setting is all about. Number two, mapping is about graphical representation. It's not just about writing. Setting, I've said, is about writing, and then it is also accompanied by graphical representation. But setting is primarily about graphics, about using graphs and charts, all right, pictures, to actually plot your movement. I'm not very good at mathematics, but I've come up with an easy way that can help those of us who are not mathematically inclined to be able to do a good career map. All right, so we've got to do that career map. All right, now you cannot map without a good understanding of the industry or companies that you want to work in. I get a lot of questions on LinkedIn, about salary. How do I, when I'm going for an interview, how do I know about that? I'm like, first of all, if you're going for an interview with a company, you better do as much investigations of that company as possible. Do investigations about the industry that company is operating in, and try and find out. There's always information out there. I'm going to give you a number of places where you can get information from. They're out there. If you want to get information about salaries, about the people in an office, about the work culture in an office, about everything in an office, you can get it. There are websites that will give you that information. All right? You've also got to be good at doing environmental scanning. You must scan the environment. So it's not just about saying, I want to work in the oil and gas industry. I want to work in tech. I want to work in this. I want to work in that. You've also got to do your environmental scanning. All right? Look at what is happening in Ukraine. For 2 months, people have, the Americans and the Brits and the Europeans have been shouting, you know what is good for you? Pack your bags and get out of there. War is coming. We have enough intelligence on the ground to see that war is coming. Get out now while you can. Unfortunately, people did not get out and they're still there. Some could not, but some who could did not. All right? So this is the issue. These are things that could affect your career, because overnight, people's schooling have been affected, university, so many different things have gone wrong. All right? And then you need to do your why and your what if analysis. I'm coming to what my brother said earlier on about taking a pay cut because you have family, you have school fees to pay, you have so many things that you have to do. And then there's the what if analysis. All right? So these are the things that you need to do to be able to map your career. And I'm actually going to show you what it looks like. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit before I push on about your why analysis. Remember I said what if? What if means, what if this happens? So for instance, once the Americans and all the other people started shouting, there's going to be war, people should have been doing their what if analysis. What if this war goes down? What's going to happen to my career? What if this happens? What if that happens? All right, so that's what your what if is all about. Your why analysis is different from your what if analysis. Your why analysis looks at those reasons why you are working. All right, because we're all working for different reasons. Okay, and I've put four of the major reasons that we've seen from research. All right, that people work. Number one, desperate need. So you just need a job. You don't even care whether that job is, whether you're a shop attendant or whatever it is, someone, you just need a job. Whether you love the job, you're passionate about it, you think this job is going to be fantastic, you just need a job. All right? So that's number one, desperate need. Number two is security. You need security. All right? So you've overcome that thing of need. You know that you can meet your daily needs. You have clothes on your back, and but it goes beyond that now. You want to be secure. You want to buy a house. You want to drive a nice car. You want to pay for your children's school fees. You want to send them to the best schools that are out there. So that is security. So when it comes to security, you're not working in that job because you actually really like it or you're necessarily satisfied by it, but you know that, what, if I stay in this job for say like 10 years, 15 years, I'll send my children to school. I will be able to pay off my mortgage. I will be able to do X. I will be able to do Y. I will be able to travel when I want to. And then at the end of 15 years, when all of this is accomplished and I'm an empty nester, you know what? I can then concentrate on doing the things that I love, all right? And that's the other why we work, because of passion and because of purpose, all right? And then, of course, the last one is because of self-actualization and status. You want a certain status in life. You want to achieve a certain level in your life, and if the job is not about that, you're not interested anymore. I was talking to somebody last week that I was, or 2 weeks ago, that was headhunting for a job. And the person said to me, Emma, look, I'm ready to come and talk to these people that you want me to talk to. But let me let you know this. Yes, salary is important to me. All right. So this is what I'm earning right now. If the job gives me 4, 5, 6 million more, yeah, it could be attractive to me. But he says, Emma, that's not the only thing that's going to make me want to come to this job. So I said, what are you really looking for? He said, Emma, I'm looking for certain positions now. If I don't get those positions, I'm not interested. All right. So I had to let the client know that. I wrote it down. I said, look, this person is likely to come because of so and so and so. So you've got to give him consideration when you are interviewing him for this job. All right, so I want to just give you a sample career map. If we had a longer bit of time, I mean, these things, I'm trying to package this course and I'm trying to figure out how long a course like this would take. But I thought that it would be important for me to just give you a sample of what a career map is all about. So this is somebody who says that he wants to be in HR. I've just chosen HR because HR is my profession, but you can use this for any career that you are in, whether you are in the technology industry, you are in banking, you are in finance, you are in the oil and gas industry, whatever industry you find yourself in, you can use this. And I have designed this map just using simple blocks, all right? So it's not, you don't have to go and look for some very esoteric graph or whatever it is. Simple blocks can do the trick, all right, for a career map. So I've shown you here, somebody has plotted his career or her career and said, you know what, this is where I want to be in 11 years. So they have plotted it, learning and development, pay and compensation, HR business partner, and the person is saying to himself or herself, every 2 years, I want to see that I have progressed up the ladder. So it's not just that I'm a learning and development officer, I'm in pay and compensation, I'm an HR business partner, I'm a head of employee relations, I'm a head of performance management, and whatever it is. I also want to see that I'm getting promotion. So you can see on the top there, entry level, associate, senior officer, assistant manager, deputy manager, and then manager. And then you can see that this person, I've made it very simplistic. It's actually a little bit more complex than this. You can see that this person has plotted on the graph. Look, I know that at the level of entry level, when I'm an entry level person, I know that I've taken that job mainly because of need. It could be different for different people. For some people, they're lucky enough, they get into their passion and purpose right from the get-go. But for this particular officer, he has said, you know what? I know that the start of my career is marked by need. The first 3 years are marked by need. In fact, he said the first 7 years are marked by need and security. So my career movement is all about need and securing myself. All right. And then he's saying to himself, okay, by year 9, you know what? I will continue. What he's saying by saying passion and purpose. The person is saying that, you know what? By that time, I'll be able to focus on my real passion, staying in this job because I like it. And the area where I know that I have a lot of passion and purpose for is performance management. So I want to be there. All right. And then you move to the next level, all right, which is all about what? Self-actualization. So this person has plotted his or her career map. One of the things that I want to show you, I will show you very soon because I've got to hand over. Monica, could you check for me if Jane is on the or in the meeting room? All right, could you confirm that to me? I need to hand over to her very soon. All right. Okay. So one of the things that I'm going to show you very soon is that is the ideal. That's a very idealistic map. But there's nothing wrong with making an idealistic map. Make it at least first. All right. Another thing that I want to tell you is people say, people probably are saying to themselves, I can see entry level here. So this thing is for people who are starting their careers. No, you can actually, if you've made the mistake of not mapping your career properly when you started, you can actually, after this meeting, go and sit down and say, you know what, maybe I've got it wrong in the past, or maybe I've got it right and I want to continue to get it right? Let me sit down and remap my career. So you can also do that. Okay. All right. So, all right. Thank you very much, Monica. All right. Jane, I'll hand over to you very soon. We had a sort of like 10-15 minute delay because of people signing on late. Okay. So I'll sign on. Jane, are you out there? Can you say hello? Are you there, Jane? Jane? Is Jane there? Okay, maybe she's not on the, all right. Caroline, thank you very much. Caroline says, I've never mapped. I got it wrong all along. Thank you, Emma. Chisom, thank you. Chisom says, these are nuggets that she's getting. Now, let me tell you, I want to make a confession. I don't know, I think my mother and probably my sister on this slide. I don't know if my sister is here, but I know that some of my family members are here. I got it wrong too. I never mapped. And I got it really, really wrong. Jane, all right, good, great. Nice to have you here. We'll hand over to you soon. We had a late start, so we'll hand over soon. I never mapped, and I also got it wrong. All right, and it's because I got it wrong, but I was able to remap and get it right again, that I am passionate about teaching people about this. Even if it means that I teach for free, I don't mind. I got it wrong. I did not map, and I had a serious career meltdown. All right, so we'll talk about that later. Let us push on so that I can hand over to Jane. All right, so another thing that you must have at the back of your mind. Remember, I told you that's an ideal map. So you must have at the back of your mind that you want to have a sustainable career map. All right. So, Amara, thank you so much. So you want to have a sustainable career map. And what are the things that can make your map a little bit funny? Number one, if you do your self-assessment wrongly. If you have an improper understanding of movement, especially within specific industries, Jumoke, thank you. Jumoke says, I never mapped and I got it all wrong. Jumoke Moji. Yeah, you need to go back home, even if it's, sometimes, let me tell you something. When it's this issue of career planning and career mapping, sometimes you will have to take time off. Take time off, a day or two off, and just tell everybody, you know what, I'm chilling out for a while, I'm chillaxing, just leave me alone for a while. There's some things that have gone on in my life. I need to take some time out. I mean, if I'm really going to do this very properly, I will take people on a retreat. We'll go and sit down. We'll go and consider, we'll go and think about our lives, all right? But, for now, all I can do is just to give you nuggets, and I'll try my best to do that within this short period of time, all right? So if you don't do your self-assessment properly, if you have an improper understanding of what is going on in your industry, of movement, how to move, all right? You're going to, very soon, I will hand over to Jane. Jane is a master. I love Jane. Jane is a master. She knows how to move. There's just a specific spirit in Jane that enables her to move. 1 minute she's here, the next minute, there's some people who look at her, there's some bosses who will look at her and think, oh yeah, Jane, we got you. we've squeezed you tight. You can't move from where we are. And the next minute, you just see that Jane has moved out of that place. All right. So this is a person who knows how to move, and she knows how to move skillfully. All right. So badly done industry and environmental analysis. When you don't know what is, when you do your analysis, you really don't know what's going on in your industry and you mess up. And then an inability to correctly evaluate your progress, all right, against your map and recalibrate or reevaluate your movement. All right, so how can we continuously achieve career transformation? All right, so remember what you want to make those moves. These are the tips, okay? And then how can we continuously achieve, how do we actually achieve career transformation and keep it going continuously? All right, how can we continuously achieve career transformation? Number one, career evaluation. Number two, career reevaluation. And number three is the career developing strategically. A couple of weeks ago, I was with a bestie of mine, I won't mention her, her name, she's around right now with me. We were talking strategically about this career. I was saying to her, I said, girl, my darling, she's one person I admire so much, because, by the time you look at her CV, you will see an extremely accomplished woman. Whatever certification you can think of, the highest certifications you can think of in her area of practice, because she quietly sat down. When everybody else was making noise, she was quietly getting all her practice. So I just thought, I said, the only thing that the next level for blowing, as we say in Nigeria, all right, the next thing that you have to do to ensure that you really make that life transformational next level move. I said to her, it's your career. I was trying to, well, I didn't put it to her like that, but I just said, these are certain things you need to do in your career. But what I was referring to is what we call a career handipack. And that's what Jane is going to talk to you about when she comes on after me. All right, so you have to have that career handipack. All right, so first of all, very quickly, let me talk about career evaluation. Now, I told you that map that lovely HR officer drew is a very ideal map. If I were to do this fully with people, we would really sit down and we'll look at the different types. There are different types of maps. I just showed you one map and I showed you an ideal map. All right, you have got to evaluate yourself at every point. Even if you're even achieving that ideal map, you need to evaluate yourself so that you keep your eye on things that are really happening in your life and you're able to spot and identify those dark spots, those one chance spots, those different types of spots that you could mistakenly have gotten yourself into without realizing it. All right, so you must evaluate. You must ask yourself, where are you on the map? What is the true condition of things in your career? What advances have you made? What are the challenges that you are experiencing? What do you need to do now? You've also got to reevaluate. So if you look at everything, after you've evaluated, you also have to reevaluate. I've noticed that there are things going on wrong in my career. Is it time to reevaluate? All right? You need to ask yourself certain questions. Is it time for me to make certain moves? And what type of move must this be? Is it time to pivot? Is it time to transition? What do you mean by pivoting? Changing your profession altogether or changing your industry altogether. All right? Is it time to transition? All right? These are the things like, is it time to train yourself? I went through this 5 years ago. By the time I did this session that I'm talking to you about, I mapped and I planned. I realized I was in a career meltdown. Everybody around me knew I was in a meltdown. I said, what is causing this problem? And I realized what needed to be done. So I went to reskill, I went to retrain, and I went to retool. All right. So some of my colleagues are here. We all went to do it together. All right. It might be that instead of all those things that I've talked about, that what you need to do is to start a side hustle. Or you may need to even think of exiting from that career or retiring. Maybe that you're at that point where, you know what, it has come to an end. Let me just sit down, sit down in my house and enjoy myself. Okay. All right. And that can only happen, of course, if you have some good money that you have set aside for yourself. All right. And then thirdly, you need to have that career. These are the things that you need to do to ensure that you have constant career transformation. So this is an example of evaluating and reevaluating. This is an example of evaluating and reevaluating. This is a more realistic career path. All right. So when I say evaluation, and I'm saying, where are you on the map? All right. This is a map of a relationship and sales career professional in a financial services company. All right. This is a evaluation of this person's map. This person has sat down and looked at their map. I've done 10 years in this industry. This is what happened. Year one, I came in as an entry-level officer. Then I had to repeat it again because something happened. In fact, that person did not feel it well. There was something that happened. The bank went bust. So that person had to do the entry-level thing all over again and start all over again from the beginning in year two. And then that person was fortunate because that person was a flyer, all right, is a flyer. So that person, you can see, just started moving. Year three, they were already an assistant banking officer. Year 3.5, they were already a banking officer. By year 4.1, they were a banking officer. But very quickly, before we hand over to Jane, who can tell me there's something here. Who can tell me? Can anyone see? Monica, can you unmute the mics? There's something that has gone, there's something going on here that is not exactly, all right? We're seeing some peaking here, some, what's going on? Can anyone say? Can anyone point it out? You can see, and you can see this person was only working for need and security all the way. They weren't really, so that means that something was going on. So who can just quickly talk about this map? I want to hand over to Jane. I may not be able to even finish everything that it is that I want to cover today, but it's no problem. All right, there's always tomorrow and we can always come back. Who can see what is going on this map? Something is going on this map. Something is going on this map. Monica, have you unmuted the mic? All right. Is there anybody who would like to just talk about this? Zainab, would you like to talk about it?
Yes, Ma.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can see career stagnation.
Thank you. Where?
Yeah.
Where?
Assistant manager.
Assistant manager. What's causing it?
He's having conflict with manager.
Thank you. Caroline has got it. Management conflict has started. Can you see anything else that you want to talk about very quickly? Having conflict with the manager. Conflict with the manager, and you can even see that's all the way down to the end of her career or his career, whoever it is. Can you see that? Conflict. And then at the end of the day, because of time, at the end of the day, you can see that person had actually started to reach that stage of, you know what, I'm actually actualizing. He or she was able to maneuver themselves out of this problem by moving to another job. All right. As I said, the maps are not as full as I would want them to be. All right. And then the person got to self-actualization, but still had to quit because the person jammed another manager and there was conflict there. All right. So that is mapping, and that's what mapping shows you. And if the person had mapped, this person didn't actually map when they were supposed to. If the person had mapped at this point, this person would have seen, you know what? I have conflict issues. And the person would have then said, what do I need to do? So what is causing this problem? And then what do I need to do to sort out this problem? And maybe the issues would not have continued like they did. All right, so that is it. All right, so this is it. Just to round up very quickly, your next level move. Is it time to move? What type of move? When should I move? Jane will talk a little bit more about that. She understands that. What type of move? When should I move? How do I move? Because this thing has to be done strategically. There are different types of career transitions. There are career transitions that are all about positioning yourself. There are career transitions, as I said earlier on, that are about status. There are career transitions that are about getting into certain industries or getting out of certain industries. There are career transitions that are about job and grade moves. There are career transitions that are all about geographical moves. And then there are career transitions that are about professional moves. All right, so I'll skip some of these things right now because I want to round off. But one of the things that I want to leave you with is this. In all of this, we've talked about evaluating. We've talked about re-evaluating. The third thing that I want to talk about, and this is where I'm now going to hand over the baton to Jane, is to talk about the career handy pack. All of these things we're talking about, planning, mapping, etc., and etc., they cannot come to pass if you don't have a handy pack. What is a handy pack? There are things that you need to have to be able to make a career move. I call it a handy pack. A handy pack is something that is filled with, different good things. All right. There are things that you need to have in your handy pack in your career. All right. Whether you like it or not. Number one, your resume. This resume issue, we will talk. Let me hand over to Jane, and I will come back and talk about this CV issue. It is like an albatross on people's neck. It can make you lose a job. On Friday morning, my mother is here, she can testify to this. I was trying to help people, somebody sort out a CV issue as that person was being called for a job that I had headhunted him for. And the client said, we like this guy, we want him. But you know what? The problem is the CV is not balancing the way that it should be. Can you ask the person to rewrite the CV? And then I would say to the person, please rewrite the CV. They will send it back to me. It would not be done the right way. So finally, I just said, you know what? I want to help this person. I jumped in and I did a template. And I said, quickly, adopt this template quickly, and then let's send it because it was time bound. So this resume issue, I've seen people lose jobs because of resumes. All right, your LinkedIn profile. Some of you need to resurrect your LinkedIn profile. The profile is dead. It's dead. We don't know anything. Oh, when we go there, the only thing that we see is your name, nothing else. Your LinkedIn profile, your visibility plan. I know somebody who we all know her. She makes money from helping people, and what she does is very valuable. Helping people make themselves visible. All right. Your industry analysis, you must always have that. Even if you know that there are certain industries that you want to work in, I keep repeating this thing. You must have that down pat. Your networking plan. Jane is coming anyway. She's Madam Networker. Your networking, I'm very bad at that, but I'm trying my best now to improve. Your networking plan. And then you should also have a recruiter or headhunter that you're working with. I know somebody who's very close to me in London. She lives in London. She always has recruiters that she works with who help her to network her to different jobs. And then we're talking about coaching. Who is your coach? Who is your mentor? Who is your sponsor? These are things that you must have in your career handy pack if you want to have a next level transformational career. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now way beyond the time that I promised Jane that I was going to hand over to her. But this is what happens when we do not start on time and we don't come on time. But I have had a wonderful time with you. I wish we could interact more. But I had decided today, last time, for those of you who came for the session last time, we were able to do a lot of practical sessions. We went into the breakout room, we networked, we did a lot of practical sessions. But I decided this time, I said, you know what? Sometimes people say, oh, this whole thing is theoretical. It's very theoretical. Emma is just teaching theory. I said, no. Sometimes I want to actually bring people who are living this theory that we're talking about, who are actually practicing the theory that we're talking about. So distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to a very good friend of mine, all right? Somebody that I have a lot of admiration for. From the first time, was a mutual friend who introduced us. From the first time we met, we just hit it off. And I have a lot of admiration for her, a lot of, she's just, I watch her career, I watch what she's doing, and I'm just like, she's just a phenomenal person. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to Jane Egerton in Deadhead. Don't go anywhere. Wait, listen to Jane. Jane is dialing in from Dublin, where she just underwent it wasn't just, she went through this last year during COVID. At the height of COVID, Jane was headhunted by Meta, one of the largest global organizations in the world. And she got this job here in Nigeria. She was here in Nigeria. She wasn't living in London or UK or wherever. She was here in Nigeria, minding her own business, working here in Nigeria when Meta came calling. So I'd just like to read Jane's profile so that you know who she is a little bit more. Jane Egerton is the head of sales at Facebook for Middle East and Africa. She completed her first degree at the University of Nigeria, where she studied electrical and electronics engineering. She then went to Warwick Business School in the UK, Harvard Business School, and Yale School of Management in the United States. Before working at Facebook, she was the country manager in Nigeria and the regional sales director for West Africa for Avanti Communications Group PLC. She also worked at Nokia and Ericsson. Jane is an author of the bestseller Be Fearless, an amazing book, of how one's life can be totally transformed. So that is another book you need to go and get. All right. She is passionate about encouraging and promoting girls in STEM. She goes into rural areas, into ghettos, into slums to work with young girls who want to go into STEM. And she wants people to have successful careers. She does this through her book, her talks, articles, videos, and her NGO Women in Career. And she has spoken at TEDx programs, African Science Academy, at Sheshi University in Ghana, and CFA Startups Hangout, to mention a few. She's a quintessential extrovert and physical fitness proponent. You should see her figure, she's like this. Jane enjoys golf, cycling, and salsa. She also writes a regular telecoms column for Business and Financial Times Ghana. She and her husband, Egertini Dehe, another prolific person, have a son, Asha, and a daughter, Sarah, who inspired Jane to continue to push for diversity in male-denominated ventures and environments. All right, so distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now, and I want to hand you over to Jane. Jane, you can go right ahead. Yes, I will come back later on to just sign us out of the program, but I'm going to hand over to Jane, and Jane will take us through the next session. Yes, she has an amazing profile. Yes, quite an intimidating profile, but Jane is not like that. She's a lovely, humble person. Jane, over to you. Are you out there? Jane, are you out there?
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me now? I couldn't unmute myself.
Yes.
Okay, great. Yes. Wow, Emma, thank you so much. Guys, also I couldn't do video. I think I'm trying to make sure the internet works for everyone, so the session holds. But the interesting thing is I dialed in at 1. I've listened to the entire session, so I didn't miss any part of the session. And for those that thought that the profile is quite intimidating, I was reading the chat, I was laughing. It could also be your profile or even better. And that's why I'm here. I'm actually here to share with you my journey and what I've done. So you can see that you can do it as well. There is no difference between you doing it and me doing it. If I can do it, you can also do it. Emma, it's so interesting. Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you very clearly, but we can't see you. Your internet is not very good, huh? We can't see you. We'd love to see you. Your internet is not very good, huh?
I would have loved you to see me, my people, but the internet could, I'm trying to make sure I get good coverage. I'm in a hotel.
Okay, so. All right. So you can switch it up. At least we've seen a little bit of you now.
Okay, excellent. So maybe we could start because, when Emma was talking, I was like, goodness, it's almost like she had my notes and we didn't exchange any notes. But it's almost like we were thinking about the same things. And I want to share my story and practical steps I thought you guys could think of doing. One of the first things I said here was, what do you really do when you want to position yourself for the next career move? And what I believe you can always do is to try and articulate your next move. When I say try and articulate it, sometimes you don't know exactly as a job. You see, like that career map, the good thing is that the guy would say manager or senior associate. Manager for different companies means different things. So you might not even know exactly what the actual name of the role is, but you should be able to understand how you want to deliver in that role, the kind of company or the environment, like Emma says, you want to be. And that's how my journey, there's noise. If you guys can all mute, that will help us. Let everyone mute. I can hear noise in the background. Okay, good. Okay, I'm back again. I was unmuted. So I was talking about my move to. There's noise. Someone's noise in the background. So let me talk about my move.
No, we can still hear you. Just continue. We can hear you. We can hear you very well. Continue.
So let me talk about my move from Nigeria to Dublin. So I never one day said, oh, you know what, I want to move to Dublin or it's time to relocate. No. But what I said is that I want to have a certain kind of career. So, I keep getting muted. I was looking for a leadership role.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. A leadership role where I could empower the people I work for. A leadership role that is aligned to my strengths. So that's one of the things you can also do. I know Emma talked about having a career map. Think about the skills and the strengths required and what you have. It's so important. So if you're looking for a certain kind of leadership, well, it could be sales, it could be tech, it could be HR. One of the things you'd be looking at, what kind of skill sets are they looking for? Then you should also audit yourself. What kind of skill sets do I have? What is my strength? Because it means a lot, because when you get into that role, it will define the way you would handle the role. The tendencies that you go to your strengths. I'll give you an example. When I moved to be the country manager for Avante, I used to work for Ericsson in Ghana. And they told me they wanted to set up an office in West Africa. They wanted someone to bring it up, lead it, manage it. Now, I knew that one of my strengths was connecting with people or networking with people. Now, if it was another leader, they wouldn't do what I did, but I used that. And I told myself one of the goals I want to achieve was to put that company on the map before I left. So it required that I do a lot of networking, speaking engagement. So I'm just saying that it's good to articulate your strengths, because once you've defined the skills, you can decide the strengths you want to ride on to achieve it. It's also good to identify, in case you're looking for a role or you're looking for that next career move, it will be good to look for or identify stakeholders and decision makers. I say that because it helps. Emma was talking about headhunters. I've always been friends of headhunters, not because I was looking for jobs. Sometimes it's even just to recommend, but it gives me an ability to understand like things that are required for a level I'm looking for. It also gives me an ability to also chat with them when it's time for me to make a move. If I start thinking, oh, now it's time for a new career move, I can start talking with them. Hey, I'm looking for an executive level, something that's more about sales, that plays to this strength, and they can also give me insight. So if you can, look for such stakeholders, decision makers. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be a headhunter. It could be a mentor or a coach. So somebody that is delivering a role and you like that role or you like that level they are in, you can try and reach out to them. I do that a lot. I call them my virtual coffee chats. And I just chat with them. Hey, what does it take to do this job? What do you like about the job? What don't you like about the job? What's the highlight of your average day or your average time? Because they share that, you begin to get insight what it looks like to do that job. And it becomes clearer to you if you want to do it or not. Something else I will also say is that try and make it known. I say this especially for women because sometimes we have those dreams and we keep them to ourselves. You want to make that career move. You're tired of the position your position you're in, but you don't want to tell anybody. I used to be like that. I used to be so afraid that if I tell people it will be jinxed or it won't happen. But that's not true. My first move to management, the only reason I got it is because I spoke up. I just let people know. The difference is that you need to let the right people know, the decision makers, because I thought I knew what it took to be a manager. There was a whole new different definition of what. I thought do your hard work, deliver your numbers, make sure you're delivering on your job. No, this is we're looking for people that are willing to engage with stakeholders, people that could manage a team, people that they also knew their track record. And I didn't want to be visible. Yeah, I was hiding myself. It was until I started making it known. I spoke to somebody very senior that I enjoyed I loved his career track record. And he started telling me, this is your biggest problem right now. You tick every box, but the only box I worry about is that you're not visible. The decision makers in the room do not know you. So I would say that is one of the things you could consider. Make it known. I'm not saying go and tell everybody in the world, but if it's a mentor, is a coach, people that are decision makers, if you're already in an existing organization and you're trying to move to the next level, who are the decision makers? Is it the HR guy? Is it the heads of some department? In my case, there was an executive team. In that executive team, only one person knew me. So that's what that guy was trying to make me do. It's like only one person in the room each time they call your name knows you. You need to change that. So consider that. And finally, please do the work. We can say all those things. If you don't do it, it doesn't mean you change. You can take all the notes, all the things Emma shared today, everything I'm sharing. If you don't do the work, it won't happen. So I'm telling you because it's not a one-day job. Meeting these people, connecting with them, some of them will tell you they don't have time. Some of them, you try and chase them down for weeks and months. There is work to be done. Even in auditing yourself, evaluating yourself, it is work. Most people find it hard to sit down and start writing their own skill sets or strengths because they feel drained. That is also work. But I would like to go on and talk about CV because we're talking about CV because that's one of the tools that you could use. One of the tools you could use is the CV. And there are two kinds of CVs in this day and age. There's your static CV, you know, the paper one you pass around. And there's actually what I call your dynamic CV. That's your profile on social media. It is a big tool. You guys are so lucky. In the early days of my career, you have to walk around with paper CV. These days, you don't. Just make sure you have a dynamic CV. Everyone is observing you. So for the paper CV, I'll say there's some basic pitfalls people make. You could try not to. Because even I, as I recruit, some of the things I check when I'm recruiting for people or interviewing people, I go and I check their CVs. There's some things to just, throw you off initially. When you don't have things that are filled in your CV, you cannot articulate how you can deliver both the hard skills and the soft skills. So the hard skills for some role is the core competence. Say for sales, we expect you at least the hard skill is that you can sell. The soft skill can be critical thinking, social intelligence, time management, creativity. Those are all soft skills. Your CV should be able to articulate that. Your CV shouldn't just articulate it. Most times what we expect in a CV is that the CV is lagging. When I mean lagging, means you have done it in some way and you can show results. So the goal is that when you articulate it, tell us how you've done it in the CV, and if possible, quantify results. I'll go back to a sex example. I'll say I closed the largest data deal with one of the biggest operators in West Africa, in brackets, MTN. I was able to help that client grow their EBITDA by the end of closing that deal from 27% to 37%. That's a quantifiable metric. Find ways to quantify things because we also want to see results on CV. Just don't put them there, but try and quantify the outcome or the results. That is what will draw also the attention of both recruiters, headhunters, stakeholders that interview you to your CV. One of the things I would like to say is also that make sure that your CV speaks to requirements. Most times when I'm helping people out, they're like, oh, why are we trying to change the CV? I'm like, no, we're not trying to change the CV. You have to make sure the CV speaks to the audience you're giving the CV. So I'll give you an example. I have a CV for a normal leadership job role, but I also have a CV for a board application. It's still me, but I tell the story slightly differently. You understand? So if a job is asking you, if you're going, for example, I'm looking for the best, if you're going for a project management job, if you start telling them how you sold and how you're a good technical person, it doesn't align to the skill set. But you can still take that project that you run and show them how you use project management skills to achieve it. So that's what I mean about trying your best to speak the language of the audience. You can't go into a room, everybody's speaking Pidgin English or French, and you're speaking Spanish. Nobody's going to understand what you're trying to say. So those are some of the things I think you can do. But one of the parts I think you can really benefit is the dynamic CV or using your social media. Social media has really worked for me. The job I got in Facebook was because of social media. I didn't do anything. They came looking for me because people are always watching. They're watching your social media profile. So basic things is like, please make sure your LinkedIn profile is really up to date. Don't have, I find it strange when people have a LinkedIn profile, there's no picture. Basic things. There's no header describing what you have achieved or what you're doing. Your job history is all blank. Those are basic things. I want people, you catch their attention. They want to go and check your profile and see if they can know a little bit about you. So if you could try, at least for those of you that can, when you've left this session today, go and make sure that you fill that LinkedIn profile. But apart from the LinkedIn profile, I've always been talking. I think I've been doing a series now about personal branding for career professionals. One of the ways you can put yourself out there and be visible is by sharing your experience or your thought process. So we call it thought leadership. That is the easiest way to get the attraction of both headhunters and people looking for people for maybe a next move. Because your CV is static. It tells people what you did at a point a while ago. Your LinkedIn profile is dynamic if you want it to be. It tells us how you're progressing, the trainings you attend, what you think about an article you read, what you think about a presentation or a conference you attended, those you're networking with. It tells a lot if you engage on LinkedIn. And that's the track record people are following. That's what gives them a real idea of who you are. So I'll say use it to your benefit. I know people say, oh, social media is not good. Social media to me is a knife. The knife in your kitchen is determined by you, how you use it, In the hand of an armed robber is a tool. He can stab you in that kitchen. In the hand of somebody that is cooking in the kitchen is a tool to cook. She cuts the onion, she cuts the yam and all that. So social media is like that. You can use it wrongly if you want, criticize others, bully others, put all kinds of things that are not respectful. But you can also use it as a positive tool. Teach, trade, share your thought process, share a bit about it. That's what people are looking for. That's what headhunters are looking for. So that's one of the things I would say you could do. The third one, before we can open up, I also want to make sure that you guys can ask questions. You can never get enough of strategic networking. You can never get enough. Sometimes it's just for insight. So I'll give you another example. So even though Facebook approached me for the role, I have never worked for Facebook. I don't know what it is to to be interviewed by Facebook. Guess how I prepared? I went to my network and I found a lady that was working for Facebook. She was in my LinkedIn network and I pinged. I said, hey, I got an interview with Facebook. Can I chat with you about the company? This lady starts with me over the course of a month, over every weekend. We just, play around with questions, what kind of questions I would expect, a bit about the company, what kind of core values they have. Those insights she gave me also gave me an edge. So when I say networking, it doesn't have to be in a conference. It doesn't also have to be in your office. It could be even on LinkedIn. Social media is there. Use it for good. If you think people are working in organizations you admire, you want to work, reach out to them. Try and have virtual coffees with them. If you think people are in roles you admire and you're looking up to, reach out to them. So networking is one you can really use. It can be organic. It can be intentional. Organic is when you meet people by chance. There are cases where I just meet people by chance. This really helps me, especially in closing business deals. But to be very frank, there are cases that are intentional for me, and a lot of them are. Before I go to a conference, I check who is coming, who is speaking. I ask myself, which of them do I want to really get to know? What am I going to do when I get there? During the break time, should I chit chat? Should I give a business card? Should I ask for coffee? Be very intentional with your networking. So with that, I'm going to say maybe we could ask some questions, Emma. I don't want to look like I'm only talking, so that people can ask and we can also try and address.
Oh yeah, I'm very, very, please let's open up the session for questions. If there are any questions that you want to ask Jane or me, no problem. I'm here, but Jane is our guest, so ask her away. She's one who is in Meta. I'm here in Lagos. All right, so ask her now. All right, speak now. You will see me next month. You will not see her. Okay, so Simisola. Let's take a question first from Simisola, and then we will take another question from Ogo. If you have questions, just put up your hands. And I'm afraid to unmute the mics, but we just have to. All right. So Ogo, are you able to unmute your mic? Simi and Ogo, go right ahead. Go right ahead. Simi first, then Ogo. Let's do this. Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you, Emma, for this opportunity. Thank you, Jane. I can see that you've emphasized a lot on networking and all that. So please, what's your advice for somebody who is a little bit introverted? What can the person do to get herself out there more?
Thank you a lot for that question, Simi. So when it comes to networking, I always tell people to play to their strengths. Don't try and change your personality. So don't try and be an extroverted person because you're networking. So I'll give you an example. I am extroverted. I like crowds. They give me energy. So when you invite me to a conference, if you invite me to a large event, like I can chit chat. I don't even need to know who you are. I can just start from the door. Hey, I like your tie. Where do you walk? Whatever. I can just start chit chatting. Not everybody's like that. Some people, that drains their energy. So I'll say if you're introverted, use your strength. So for introverted people, I know most of them like small audiences, small crowds, or they don't want to hang out in a large crowd for too long. So some of the things you could do is easy. Your own way of networking is not to go crowd. If you read somebody's profile in the office, even in the magazine, I have done it. There's nothing stopping you from sending them an email. Say, hey, I just read your profile. I'm so intrigued about your career journey. I love it. I'm doing this today, but I'm aspiring in a couple of years' time to do this, and this. I'm at a point where I'm trying to make a career decision. I'm really looking at people that I admire their careers. Is it possible we can have virtual coffee? Or I could just have a 5-30 minute chat with you. I would like to hear more about your own career journey. Boom. They might say yes, they might say no, but you'll be shocked. They always say yes. I found that most times people you see, the only thing that is the barrier is time. Some of them might be too busy, so you might be very patient. You can't say I want it tomorrow. They might say, okay, why don't you boss me in another 3 months or 6 months? I'm traveling, I'm having meetings, but so you'll be shocked. So play to your strength. Don't try and do it like somebody else. My husband is very introverted, but he networks. If you go to an event, why someone like Jane is walking up and down, you be very strategic. You just need that one person you are trying to connect with. Go to them quietly, sit down and have your chit chat and go. You don't have to be the party or you don't have to be the life of the party. That is not your strength. So play to your strength.
Thank you so much for that, Jane. I'm going to add to that and tell you a little secret about myself. I am what you would call an extroverted introvert. I don't know whether that makes sense. All right. So on the face of it, I'm very much out there. I talk a lot. I'm very bubbly, blah, blah, blah. But at the heart of it, I am an introverted person. Okay. And there's, or let's put it this way, there's some aspects of me that are introverted. So let me give you an example. I don't do very well at cocktail events and events like that where I have to go up to people I don't know and talk to them. I don't do well, okay? And I have tried, let's put it this way. In the past, I had tried, all right? So if we're at a cocktail party and I'm there by myself and I have to go and, introduce myself or talk to someone that I don't know, I absolutely hate it. So I do not look forward to going to cocktail parties or going to events where I don't really know people, okay? And when I saw that was becoming a problem, what I did, all right, I am one person who believes in, identify your weakness, you do something about it. So I was lucky that when I was at the London School of Economics and Political Science, we had all of these life classes, what they used to call life classes, all right, that you could take. And these were classes that were not part of your main curriculum, but just things, soft skills that the university felt that you needed. So there was a day that they organized this event where they gave you practical lessons on how to go to a cocktail party and then circulate, move around the audience. And you actually had to do it. You had to practice it. So my advice to you, Sime, is if you see that this is an issue, it's a challenge. Introversion is not a weakness. It just means that in some places it's good. In some places, it doesn't serve you well, okay? So if you need to be in a role where you need to market with people, you need to talk to people, you need to interact with people, then introversion can be an issue. What I say to people in that kind of situation is take lessons, all right? Take lessons, practice. If you cannot go to the kind of sophisticated gathering that I told you about, call your friends together. Tell them, I have this problem. Oh yeah, let's practice. We're all out together. Let us practice how it is going to be when we go out together. All right, so we all have to learn. Look, let me tell you something. The truth and the fact of the matter is that as we advance into leadership. Next level moves take us into leadership. And the truth and the fact of the matter is that leadership is a learned skill. It is not something that comes, there are very few people who are born to be natural leaders. And you will even find with those kinds of people, they still have to learn leadership skills. So leadership is something that you learn. So you have to learn, you have to sit down and you have to just say to yourself, okay, these are the areas where I'm weak at. This is what I need to learn now. Okay, so Simi, that's my own contribution to you. Okay, can we hear from Ogo? Ogo would like to hear from you. Please, the stage is open. Anyone who wants to ask questions, let's have an open mic. Go right ahead. Ogo, could you unmute your mic? Go right ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Jane, and thank you, Emma, for this opportunity. I mean, really taking great interest in this particular because I'm at a point in my career where I'm looking to pivot. I know in the last class I mentioned it that I'm looking for international opportunities, and they are coming up. So I'm going to access recruitment processes and even currently being on the roster for international assignment. However, my question is more around how do you manage relocation with your young, well, I don't know if your family is young like mine, but my family is young. My kids are within the age of 3 and 10. So I also noticed that you're a mom as well of 2 kids. So I'm just curious to know how you managed that transition with the children, because I mean they are a major key stakeholder in you being a balanced working mom. Thank you.
Thank you, Ogo, for asking that question. I really love that question because very few people ask me, but that's one of the toughest parts, you know. Getting the job was easy, moving. I moved from Lagos to Dublin in the middle of a lockdown. When I moved to Dublin was a lockdown. So even the first day, I couldn't order food because it was a new country. The apartment they gave me, the internet wasn't working. So Facebook had to get me the consultant to order, you know, like it was really messy. So I used to tease people and say, if I thought about it too much, I wouldn't have done it. But one of the things I've realized is that I think the best thing you can do to your kids is to also paint your vision with them, or paint it in a way that, because it's almost like your husband, every stakeholder has to be carried along. The first time I find a job that is getting my attention or people offer me something, I have to go to my stakeholders. I call them stakeholders, my husband, my kids. My son is going to be 14 next month, and my daughter is going to be 11 in April. When they were younger, it was easier because I've done this before when I moved to Ghana. But as they get older, they have friends. They don't want to leave so you have to answer all that question. So one of the things I would say to make it easier for you is to get them earlier on involved. Talk about the place. Talk about, what will be changes for them. The school, is it going to be similar? Whether it's going to, because in doing that, you're also getting them mentally prepared. The same thing with your husband. Why do we manage the relocation? Because I think when you do that, you're kind of trying to get them in the same zone like you to move. Then the actual move itself, it is, there's no easy way. I would just say if you want to just do it, it can be chaotic. I've had moves where, by the time I land, there could be struggles. Some of the kids don't like the food or the school is not working. You have to be ready to, there's an advice somebody gave me. She said, if you can get your kids comfortable, everything about your career will be better. And she's so right. The moment your kids are no longer comfortable with that place, even you as a parent, you cannot continue. So I would say really pay attention to their needs. Like, did they have things they were doing? Is it possible if they love it, you can keep doing it? So I'll give you an example. My son played the piano while we were in Nigeria, and I know he really liked it. So one of the things I really tried to do was to get him a piano when we moved, because it gave him a semblance of what he had. It made the move easier for him. His piano teacher from Nigeria still teaches him today because that created stability. So I would say, I'm hoping I'm making some sense for you, Ogo. Try your best to keep a lot of stability and let the movements be few. So for my kids, for example, we looked for a school that is similar to a school they had in Nigeria when it comes to curriculum, so that we know that what they'll be worried about is the weather, the country, making new friends. But in terms of really, navigating that school, the curriculums were the same. Even when it comes to making friends, we used to make it a point of duty that they call their friends in Nigeria every weekend, because that is the transition for them. It's really important as a mother. If you don't get your kids, if you lose them, you will never settle well. So get them in as early as possible. Talk about the place. My kids were researching, Googling the office. How does it look? What will they be looking forward to? Oh, I would like to go to this place. That excitement would help you when it's time to make the move, because you've already won them over. So yes, oh God, that is my answer to you. I hope that helps.
Thank you so much, Jane, for that answer. Eric, I can see that your hand is up. Would you like to ask your question, Eric? And if there's anyone else who wants to ask questions, please. Open mic is available. I know some people also sent some questions ahead. So while we're waiting for other people to put up their hands, I will also put some of these questions on the table so that we can answer them. Eric, would you like to answer your question? Eric, Kofi, Ando. I believe, Eric, you're dialing in from Ghana, right? And can you unmute your mic, Eric? Can you unmute your mic, please? I've asked you to unmute. Go right ahead, Eric. You can unmute your mic now. Eric, you should be able to, go ahead. Eric, we can't hear you. So what I would advise you to do is to do what Jane has done. Could you switch off your video? We can't hear you. Just switch off your video.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's a bit better now.
Okay. My question is it advisable to get the field experience before pursuing your academic certificate or whatever it is? And if yes, how will you convince probably like people who want to hire you that you are good in that particular field? I don't know if my question is clear.
All right. So, Eric, are you trying to say that, are you talking about a situation where the person is not very experienced and is at the beginning of, okay, so what are you saying exactly?
When I'm probably maybe one way or the other, you were able to go to school in time, but you go to the field and gain the experience on a particular field. Probably, let's say, like a construction field, I want to get experience on how to be an engineer. Okay, now, is it advisable for you to get a field experience before going back to school, or you have to go to school before you can get the field experience? Is it advisable?
Yeah, but you've gotten field experience already, haven't you? And then you want to go back to school. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Is that advisable?
My answer to that, Eric, is everything depends on the job. There are some jobs that don't require all these esoteric certificates that we all go and get, okay? Where employers are just looking for experience, okay? But I would like to let you know that there are very few jobs like that, okay? A lot of the jobs that are out there today demand some level of educational qualifications, all right? So I would say, but you also have to understand that educational qualifications also are not enough. So I'll give you an example. I've just finished an exercise, where I was working with working to headhunt for an organization, and there were some pretty good people that we brought to the client's attention. And one of those people had excellent educational qualifications, top-notch educational qualifications. And the person also had a lot of experience, okay, in a specific aspect of what the client was looking for. But the person did not have the entirety of, of the experience, the holistic experience that the client was looking for. And one of the things that we as headhunters, one of the other headhunters was working with me on this project here on this call, and we recommended the person and said, let the person go ahead, let the person try, consider this person, not let the person try. Consider this person. We've looked at this person's skills. We've looked at his professional certifications, the kind of professional background that he has developed, and we think that he has the capacity to be able to, do this role. The client did not agree with us. The client turned it down because the client wanted to see the professional experience, and the client also wanted to see the professional qualifications. All right. So Eric, a lot of this issues, a lot of these issues depends very much on the specific circumstances. This particular job was a highly, it's supposed to be, well, let's just put it this way, it will put the person in a role that is supervised by regulatory authorities. So they were picking at every single thing and saying, we're looking at this, we're looking at that, we're looking at educational qualifications, number of years, that. So at the end of the day, that person was unfortunately selected out. Okay, so Eric, the long and short of it is everything depends on the industry. It depends on, a lot of factors. Okay, so again, it goes back to what it is that I talked about earlier on, your mapping and your planning and your capacity to do that industry analysis to be able to understand what the industry that you're in or you're intending to be part of expects of you. All right, so that there are some jobs that have certain regulatory requirements attached to them. So if you are going to get that job, you would have to show that you can pass those tests when your name is submitted for approval with the requisite regulatory authority. So I hope I made sense, Eric. I hope I made sense. Jane, do you want to add anything to that? Jane, are you out there? Do you want to add anything to that? Zainab,
I'm here. I'm here. So,
yeah. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, what I would say is, Eric, jobs will determine what they want. So a fresh graduate job, nobody's asking you for experience. That's why we said fresh graduate. Like, come with just that certification you have, which is a BSc or BEng or whatever it is, bachelor's degree. That's all we require. And there are a few jobs in Africa that most jobs, at least 99%, Emma, you can clarify, would always require like a minimum, degree at least. Then when it comes to jobs that require experience, it's mostly jobs where we are looking for people that are at least experienced in doing something in that field. But Eric, the way I like to see it is that you're competing with a lot of people. Each time they throw your CV on the table, there are 1,000 CVs on the table. What is going to make you stick out? If it's experience plus academic qualification, then do it. Do it. And when you're getting experience, I think Emma shared it earlier, sometimes you have to be strategic. So you might get an experience in an organization knowing that you won't get money, but you will get experience. But then when you get that experience, you want to use it to go to an organization that will not give you really what you want. So if you're really trying to stand out, I would say the sweet spot is when you have both. That is when, if we drop your CP on the table, you normally stand out because you've got both the qualification and both the experience. Emma, back to you.
All right, thank you so much. Sorry, I was just reading some comments here. Thank you so much. I see that there's some more questions. Zainab will take you and then we'll take Halima. All right, Zainab will take you and then we'll take Halima. Zainab, please go right ahead. Then we'll take Halima.
Hello, Ma.
Hi, Zainab.
Good evening.
Hi.
It's kind of like a question or maybe a request. I don't know. which way to put it. I talked to you about myself last session, and what I do, I actually want to move out of my environment, or out of my stagnation, because actually I'm in a stagnant position now. And I recently got an invitation for an interview, and I've gone for the interview. And what I observe is the job is highly competitive, and we are many that wrote the exams, and they're just requesting for about 6% of the total total figure that wrote the exams. And I heard that you mentioned you need someone that works for you, or someone that can help you to get to a position that you like to move, or sort of that. And actually, I don't know, I don't have any help. I am seeking or looking for an opportunity. If someone can help me, or someone can make me reach out to this position that I want to, I will gladly accept it, and I will be very happy, actually.
Absolutely love that, Zainab, that you have been very open, and you've said that, first of all, we don't know where the place is, so we've got to know. So if there's anybody on this, maybe you want to reach out to me privately, and then I can throw out, the message to the rest of the group. But I love what you've just done, Zainab, because you've just taken a positive step towards actually, there's nothing wrong with saying, I want to get into this place. And you know what? I want to speak with this person, with somebody in there. I want to be able to network with that. Look, there are some industries in this country, all right? If you don't know somebody within that industry, it's not likely you're going to be able to get into that industry, all right? So I think what you're doing is a positive thing. But the other thing is that we can't help you if we don't know. All right, so I've seen that. So Zainab, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put you in touch with somebody I know who is within that sector. Thank you for sending me that message. I'm going to send a message to someone I know who is in that sector. Let's take it from there. Let's see what her response is. If she knows or he knows anybody within that sector, and then we'll take it from there. Zainab, is that all right?
Yes, ma. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no promises, but we can do that. That's deliberate networking, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. However, I want to just add some advice to that. I want to add a word of advice. Never ever put your eggs in one basket in your life. All right? There's something that we say, it's a Bible verse, but it's applicable to everybody. Cast your bread upon the waters. What it means is that put as many, all right? So you are looking to get out of a place. You should have as many applications as possible in different places. All right? Do never be dependent on one specific source for your survival. Okay? Cast your, because one person could be positive, another person could be negative, and vice versa. Or I know a story of a guy who was trying to get out of Nigeria. He was desperate to get out of Nigeria, and later on, we all found out why he was desperate to get out of Nigeria. There's some people on this call, some of my brothers that I called out earlier on, who know if I mentioned the name of this person, but I will not. All right. So this person was desperate to get out of Nigeria, and the way he saw himself getting out of Nigeria was by getting a scholarship to go and school abroad, all right, to go to university abroad, okay? And he tried about 18 times. I think he said, first of all, he tried and he tried. Was it 18 times? And then it was on the 19th time, a university gave him a scholarship, all right? You know what I just said in my mind? All those 18 times you tried prepared you for that 19th time. And he got a scholarship, he went abroad, and then from there, he got another scholarship to go to another university to do his master's. Very well-trained person. When I first met him, I said to him, we bumped into each other at a particular place where we were both, doing some things together. And I said, where are you from? You saw Nigeria. He said, yes. I said, where do you come from in Nigeria? And then he told me, and I was like, I know that particular place in Nigeria. I know it's difficult for people to get out of that particular place in Nigeria and then come to school abroad. And then he told me his story. 18 times. On the 19th time, he got his breakthrough. So please do not just try one place or give up after one try. or think this is the only place where you have find your salvation. Please, I beg you. All right, Halima, let's hear from you very quickly. We hear from Halima. There are lots of questions. I don't know how we're going to do this because we have to wrap up soon. Maybe we will have, but we'll take as many questions as we can, and then we have to wrap up. All right, Halima, go right ahead.
Hello, Emma. Hello,
Yes.
Jane. Okay, I'll just try to make my question very, very brief. Looking at Jane's profile, I see you have a business degree, which is kind of like something I can I have. I recently just finished my MBA from UK. So my strategy for going for this MBA was actually to have some international experience before I come back. But it was the height of COVID, and it was, I had to change, re-strategize, because I realized that it was difficult to get a job with multinationals, and or to even get a job in UK, because you require, sponsorship and stuff like that. And looking at my CV, I didn't have my experiences were more relatable here in Nigeria, and the companies I had worked for were indigenous companies. So I know those things were kind of against me, looking for a job in the UK. So I decided to relocate back to Nigeria. So relocating back to Nigeria, I focused on looking for jobs within indigenous companies. And yeah, I got really good jobs, and, higher pay, higher, it was in line with my career progression and all. But I realized that, it's one thing to have a business degree, and it's assumed that you want to work for a startup company because it gives you an opportunity to practice most of the things you have learned and grow the business. But in Nigeria, it's not even about the environment that that is bothersome. The business owners, it is so difficult, because you when you get in, you find so many things, and that it's just against business culture. So my question now is, I'm kind of at a I don't know if to call it a crossroad. Do I now want to go back to looking, as in to go back to the drawing board and say, you know what, I don't want to work for indigenous companies anymore, and start looking back at international multinationals or international companies? Or stick it out and try, and because if you look at, in terms of what is readily available, it's easier to get a job within the country here. And okay, yes, the pay might be good and all that, but in terms of my career satisfaction, I'm not happy. So I don't know, I just need advice, let me put it that way. What would you advise? What advice would you give to me? Thank you.
All right, Jane, over to you.
Halima,
Jane, before you continue to answer, I just want to say you found yourself a new mentee. So I'll be handing her officially over to you. Okay, I'll contact you offline. I'm serious, so go ahead.
I was listening to her and I was smiling. I was like, Halima, the actual truth is that you are the only one that can answer that question because of the journey. There is nothing stopping you from getting a job with a multinational. The difference is that it might need time. That's why I said you're the only one that can answer it. Are you willing to do the work and give it time? It is not impossible. Some of the people in my team that were recruited, they're Africans, and they didn't work for multinationals. We were recruiting for skill sets. They had the skill set we were looking for. And I think what most jobs do is that they lag. What I mean is that we want to see you operating at that level, then we take you. If you want to be working for a multinational, why don't you think like that and start to share some of that in places like LinkedIn? Talk about even working in your sector in Africa. Why is that different from working globally? Share some of the things you've learned, some of the things that could happen better. Share your experience, schooling in multinational outside the country. Compare sectors there and sectors here. There's so much you can do that will get the attention of recruiters. Because most times they're looking for two things. They're looking for people The reason most times we recruit people from the market is that we're looking for market insight. We want somebody that actually was trained or learned in that market to come and work for us. So I'll give you an example. What is the easiest thing for Amazon, Facebook, or Google to do? They're trying to open an office in Africa. Is to look for someone that has exposure in Africa. What is the easiest thing for them to do if they actually want to start up something? Is to look for someone that has worked there. And most times when they take you, it doesn't mean you're going to be working from there. You might mean you might be working from a regional office, from South Africa, Dublin, London, but you would help them manage their business there. So I would say for me, it's a matter of time. But you have to do all that thing we are talking about today. Make your plan, do the mapping. Who are the companies you're interested in? What kind of roles? What kind of skill sets? Where are you from those skill sets? Are you getting them? Is there a gap? How's your network in terms of accessing those companies? Are you speaking to people that work there or speaking to people that have some association with them? How are you positioning yourself, giving yourself visibility? Because all this thing now is you now, we don't know. The only reason we will know your interest to work in that market is when you start talking and giving us insights of your ability and capability. Then we start picking interest on that talent. So I want to say that it's not impossible. It can be done. Companies do it. I'm in Dublin every other month. I'm talking to someone from Kenya or Nigeria that just relocated because they got a job either at Facebook, Amazon, or Google. These companies are expanding and they will still expand because the next phase is theirs. AI, every other thing, the next phase in that sector is theirs to take. So they need to expand. And frankly speaking, Africa is one of the cheapest places to get talent. We put rules for people in some parts of Europe and nobody applies because there's nothing attracting them. They can be at home and earn more. But most of us in Africa, we want that exposure. So I'll say it is not impossible, but it requires work. It's going to require work and it will require time.
Thank you so much. I just want to take one or two questions from the chat. Okay, so it doesn't seem like as if we're ignoring the chat group. So the first question I'll take is from Hashim Adebayo, who talked about what the chances are for someone who has applied for a job online and then someone who has who a headhunter has noticed, okay, and is sponsoring for the job. Okay, Hashim, it all depends on the type of job that it is. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Last year, for instance, I do a mix of things. When I am recruiting on behalf of a client or consulting on behalf of a client, sometimes I could decide to advertise. Sometimes I may not advertise. A particular transaction I just did recently, I didn't advertise the job because there was no point. I was looking for specific skills, so I headhunted for people and I sponsored I put their names forward for the job, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get the job. What it just means is that you will have a good chance of getting in front of the employer. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, I have had situations before. I mean, I handled a recruitment last year where I advertised. I had never met any of these people before, but they responded to my advertisement and all of them got the job as a result of them responding to the advertisement. Okay, so everything depends. It's a lot of variables. Okay, Hashem, it's a lot of variables. You could be lucky too also where the headhunter has power. All right, and the recruiter has actually left it to the headhunter and says, you know what, you select everybody, you choose everybody. I'm just going to endorse whatever it is that you have done. All right, Hashem. So that really is the difference. Okay, one has the capacity to bring you directly to the recruiter who could then decide to hire you. Okay, so Hashem, that is really the power of the recruiter. The recruiter has that power to bring you directly before the person who is employing. Now, someone asked a question, I can't remember who it was, but someone asked a question about upskilling. How do you upskill? What are the things that you do to upskill? All right, so you have retraining yourself, you have upskilling yourself, you have reskilling yourself, and then you have retooling yourself. I was going to talk about that, but I didn't have time. Okay. So when you retrain yourself, what you're basically doing is that you've looked at some skills that you already have, and you're saying to yourself, you know what, I've forgotten the skills. I'm a bit rusty where the skills are concerned. So I need to retrain myself. And, look, technology has made things very easy. You're on LinkedIn every day. One of the questions I ask if you're on LinkedIn at all, because what surprises me is the number of people who do not take. Look, if you're a career professional and you want to move ahead in your life and you don't look at I say every day, you should have time set aside to spend time on LinkedIn, whether it's in the evening when you come from work or whatever it is, you do that for 30 minutes. What do you do on LinkedIn? One of the things that you should be doing on LinkedIn is learning. LinkedIn has an LMS, okay? They have a learning management, I call it a learning management system, all right, LinkedIn Learning. And they have a plethora of courses that you can, all right, use to retrain yourself. Then you have reskilling. Reskilling means that you are learning new skills, all right? You're learning something entirely new. For those kinds of things, you may have to check in for a professional course. What stops you from doing that? In 2016, I closed down my office. I said, Emma, you need to reskill. This thing is not a matter of retraining yourself. You've gotten to a point where you are stagnant. You can't move. Everything has. Go and reskill. And I went abroad and I went to study. Okay, I closed down everything and I said, Emma, go and relearn. All right. Recently, I've been saying to myself again, Emma, you're coming in touch, you're coming in contact with some things that you're not very familiar with. You need to probably add 1 or 2 more professional degrees to you. I've been talking to myself about these things. All right. So what am I saying? In summary, there are different ways to do things. There are lots of free courses. YouTube is another place where you can get free courses, free courses. All right. LinkedIn Learning is there, Coursera is there. What I'm just trying to say is that there's nothing too esoteric about this. There are different ways you can upskill yourself. You don't always have to go away to go and do some esoteric masters. You can, all right, and then join certain networks. All right. It's not every time that you go to school to go and, or back to university to upskill yourself. Sometimes the information, the skill you're looking for is in specific networks. You heard Jane. She said when she was preparing for something, what did she do? She went to ask certain people who had already been there before her and ask them, how do we go about this? So join specific networks. I have put the Telegram group, a link. I will put it again. Join the link. I post a lot of jobs there. I'm not necessarily the one who is headhunting, but sometimes I see interesting jobs and I said to myself, oh, maybe my group members may find this useful. You never know. That is information that you're getting. Very soon, I'm going to post articles. Some people on this group are asking me for the materials and the video for this group and the one for the last. It will be on the group. Join the Telegram group. Join other groups where you know that information and materials will be shared, where vital information is being shared. All right, that can help you to upskill yourself. All right, so that just is it. They're doing.
Emma, let me add to that.
Please go ahead, Jane.
So one of the things I've just adding to what you're saying, because I really plus one it, is that hardcore skills you can get by certification, to be an engineer, to be someone that can code. You have to go and acquire that skill. So you do the training. You go for, you be an undergraduate or an MBA course. But soft skills are morely experiential. And I say that because some people make the mistake. There is no place to go and learn creativity. You don't learn social intelligence. You experience it and you're given the tools to navigate it. And that's where things like internship and maybe you volunteering for things are handy. So, for example, if you're trying to boost your creativity, you need to do things to do that. If you're trying to make sure you improve your social intelligence, you might have to join a group, a networking session. If you're trying to improve your presentation skills, yes, I'm not saying it's not good to read all the books, but those are experiential skills that you need to practice. So an example with myself, before my first job, I was volunteering for junior achievement and I was teaching students, but that improved my ability to present and communicate. The same thing when it comes to other skills like creativity. There are other things you do on the side that help you improve those skills. So once it's a soft skill, I think it's good to look for opportunities where you can volunteer or intern and experience those skills and work on it.
Fantastic. All right, so we have time has passed on, so I'm going to allow, I see people have been putting up their hands for a while. So I'll allow Adedoyin to ask her question. And then there's another question that I've seen in the chat that I will read out, and then we will have to call it a day. But I think this has been a wonderful time. Jane, you have been active. Even me, as usual, I'm learning from you. You know, every time we connect with each other, I always tap a lot of things. And then Chisom had said earlier on, so Chisom will also allow you. Chisom, are you still online? We will allow you to ask your question. So Dido, you go right ahead, and then we'll have Chisom, and then I will read a question in the chat, and then we are done. Okay?
All right. Thank you very much, Emma, and good evening, everyone. My question is that someone like me now, I'm trying to translate from the public sector to the private sector. Having experience of 4 to 5 years experience, and going to the private sector is kind of difficult. I don't know. Maybe I have to start with an entry level again, or I have to, as regard my experience, start with that level, because I'll be trying to apply all this while. But I'm thinking maybe I just have to go back, because public sector and private sector is kind of different in the administrative process. So I don't know, what advice do you have to do there concerning that?
Okay, Jane, do you want to take that? And then I will just say something after that. Yes.
I don't know why you're saying that they're different. I think what is different is maybe the cultures of the organizations and how they're structured. So private sector is more profit driven. And I think it feels more competitive compared to public sector. Public sector is more driven by policy, serving a bigger good like the government. So I think seems to be a bit slower in that sector. But I wouldn't say, I think what you're probably looking at is reskilling yourself and looking for a sweet spot. There are private sectors looking for people with public sector. There's also the public sector experience. So it's also the way you position yourself. I'll give you an example. When telcos are having problems, they're looking for people that are in the public sector that could bring that knowledge for them and help them understand how to deal, for example, with their regulator. Think, for example, Facebook, Meta. We recruited one of the highest paid public sector, I wouldn't call any name, public sector individuals in the UK, because we were struggling with dealing with the regulators in Europe. So that's the sweet spot you're looking for. But I don't think you have to reset. I don't think any experience is missing. What you have to understand is find out how the private sector differs, but how you can also bring value with your public sector knowledge. And that's what I'm saying. Most times it's got to do with regulation, policy maker, managing stakeholders, or having insight into that public sector where the private sector really needs that public sector and they don't have insight. So you can be that bridge and you can position yourself. But I don't think you have to entirely just reset. You have to understand that when you're now coming to the private sector, it's more competitive. So it's really performance-based. Public sector is not so performance-based. So private sector could be from your attendance is important to every tiny thing you do. If you don't deliver, it will determine your promotion. So it's a lot of you have to show that you can deliver. So we want to see your performance. We agree that you have to do this and this and this. At the end of 3 months, did you do it? If you don't do it, it determines whether you get a salary increase or not, or whether you get a promotion. So that is a big difference from public sector, where after a certain amount of years, you're just given because people believe you're in the system and you deserve it. But I think what you should look for is that sweet spot. Look for private sectors that are looking for people with public sector knowledge.
Fantastic. Changing jobs from the public sector to the private sector can be very difficult. But then again, it comes down to, but changing jobs in general can be difficult, period, okay? But it all boils down again to what I said earlier on. Having a map of what it is that you want to do, having a plan of what it is you want to do, and then you're being able to map your plan out. So you're saying you want to get into the private sector. Where do you want to get into? Do you want to go into the financial services industry? oil and gas industry, or right now you just desperate, any job that comes your way in the private sector, you will take it. All right. So my advice to you, Dedoyin, is that you have to be intentional. Do you understand what I'm saying? You have to be intentional. And one of your strategies could be to take on an internship. All right. People always think that interns. I remember one day when I went up to a well-known person. I will not say who it was. And I said to her, Auntie, I want to learn some things. At that time, right now I'm 50. I think at that time I was 48. And I went to her and I said, Auntie, I want to learn some things. And I believe very much I can learn those things from you. Auntie, can I come and intern with you? And she looked at me and started, I don't want to mention her name because my children bodies will know who she is. And she just started laughing. She was like, you, Emma, want to come to me to come and learn from me? No, that's not possible. And I was like, you see, this is the problem. At this age, people do not believe that somebody in their late 40s or their early 40s can intern with a person. Yes, you can. Anybody can intern at any stage. So I think one of the strategies could be for you to intern. All right, look for an office where you can start an internship, whether remote or virtual or whatever, or physical, and start from there. All right, and then strategically begin to network with people. All right, who and then make yourself more visible. What is it that you do? One of the things that disturbs when people ask questions on this group. You don't tell us who you are. You don't tell us what it is that you're doing. One of the things that I always tell people is this: your next opportunity may be sitting right next to you. But if you keep quiet about yourself and you don't tell people who it is you are and what it is that you do, nobody is going to be able to know whether they should help you or not. All right. So this is something that you should be mindful of. Okay, Adedoyin. All right. So for instance, you said you want to move, you want to get into the private sector. You didn't tell us any of the sectors that you wanted to get in. So if anybody here is looking for someone with your qualifications or your skills, they're not going to be able to help you out. Okay. All right. So Chisom, can you ask your question, and then we'll just read one more question from the chat, and we are done. I think we've done very well today. All right. I have popped the Telegram address. People are joining. I can see. Thank you so much for those. I'm holding my phone. That's why sometimes I'm looking down, and I'm also holding my trusty fan because I switched off everything cool around me so that I can hear, because there's so much noise around me right now. So you know what? Join the Telegram group. All right. Anybody who is in that group will know that I don't harass anybody. Nobody harasses anybody. We just try to put information there that can help you. Right now, what I'm doing is basically posting materials from this meeting, and then also job adverts that I find anywhere. If I see them, I post them. All right. You never know that there's somebody and the reason why I do it is because there's someone I know who saw a job advert for a massive next level transforming move. And she said, okay, well, what's that can happen? I will apply. I won't get this job. And she applied and she got this job. In fact, most of the time when we talk now, she's like, Emma, I can't even talk right now because the job is true. There's just too much. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm in the factory right now. I'm working, because it was a life-shaking transformational move. All right. So that is why I opened that group, all right, to provide more resources for you. And then you may never know. People are putting messages in there saying to me, we need some coaching. I never really have time for individual coaching. But who knows? I could get it into my head to say to you one day, all right, you know what, guys, I'm going to do a free group coaching session for everybody. It's going to be on the Telegram group. That's where it's because it's not every time I have the energy or time to start putting people to LinkedIn. So I just said to you, you know what, we're going to do this on LinkedIn. Come to the LinkedIn group, all right? And then sometimes I do some paid courses, all right? Like I'm thinking of doing a course on resume writing, because this thing is like a demon around people's neck right now. All right. And I get a lot of people coming to me to say, Emma, we want you to write our resume. I hate that. Don't please never contact me to ask you to do because I won't do it. Okay. I don't have the time to sit down and do people's resumes. And then secondly, I also believe you should have control of your narrative. You should have control of your resume. You should learn to write. You heard what Jane said. She has different resumes for different situations. Okay. Gone are the days when we would have that one size fits all resume. All right. So I may have one or two pages. I don't know. All right. Because I always tell people, if you want me for longer than a few hours, you're going to have to pay. All right. So I will teach you that one day too as well, about knowing what your value is and being able to tell people what that value is, okay? So I may have a paid session. It really probably will be on the LinkedIn course, Telegram group, that I'm going to post that information that, look, you know what? One day, an intensive resume course, come and do this course. These are all the reasons. And you know, invest in yourself, invest in your career, pay sometimes to get information. There is nothing wrong with doing that. The problem with most of us Nigerians, we want everything free. Sometimes pay. There are some courses, some events, some workshops that I see, I pay to go to get that information. All right. So Chisom, can we hear from you very quickly? And then we will hear from, I will just read one comment and then we are done. We're really past our sell-by date here, all right? But I'm amazed that people have stayed over for something. I'll say over 60 to 70% of the class is still in the meeting room. Amazing. Chisom, can we hear from you? Chisom, can we hear from you? Chisom, you said you had a question you wanted to ask. Chisom, are you out there? Chisom, are you out there? If not, I will take a question from the chat. Okay, all right. Sorry, Chisom says she needs to be unmuted. All right, hold on a second. Let me unmute you very quickly. Okay, I've asked you to unmute. Can you unmute now? Chisom, can you unmute now? Because I've unmuted everybody. Chisom, can you unmute now? I've unmuted everybody and I've asked you to unmute. All right, so we can't seem to get Chisom on and time is going. So we're going to just take a question from the chat. Caroline says, my resume looks good. Employers have told me that in the past, I'm ready to pay for coaching to get a new job. All right, so that's not a question, it's just a statement that she's making. All right, so someone sent me a question. She says, please, this is Abiodo Oladimeji, have had career stagnation experience over some years. Just making a move now. I was wondering, sorry, I'm trying to hold this up, but it doesn't seem to, I'm not able to. Abiodo, can you read your question out? Can you say what it is that you want? I'm not able to actually view this very well. Abiodo, are you still there? Yes.
Yes, I'm with you.
Yes. Okay.
Good evening, madam.
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, please. For some years back now, I've had career stagnation. I was working as a secretary, as an admin secretary, and for more than 6 or 7 years on that. And then I've never even thought of, okay, I should move forward. This should not be my height. And so now I'm into HR. I've gone for my certification. And then the advert I see now that I want to move, I've been seconded to a department, the HR department, to assist my HR, but still I think I should move forward. I should move from that organization to other places. But the advertisement I've been seeing now, they say, okay, from 2 years upward, I don't want to go for anything 2 years because I've had my work experience before this HR certification. So I'm wondering, is it something I can go for years beyond 2 years or more, considering my years of experience before being HR?
Why not? Try it.
Okay.
Why not? I mean, you only, try it. Why not?
Okay.
But I would also say something. You need to make yourself more visible in the HR industry. Visibility is very important. Okay. You also need to make yourself more visible in the HR industry. Join HR groups, okay? I run one called the TCN HR Professionals Group. You could decide registration for that closes. So if you get in touch with me, if you join the Telegram group, just get in touch with me. I will put a link in there because there you can network with a lot of HR managers, a lot of HR professionals, and connect with them directly and say to them, this is what you are looking for right now. Is there any way they can assist you? They post a plethora of jobs, number of jobs they post on that group. I'm sure that people must really connect with, with jobs and all of that. Okay. So that's my encouragement to you. Join that, join networks like that. It doesn't have to be that one. If you don't want to join it, you can join something else. All right. So that you can create visibility and networks within the HR industry and meet people who will be able to give you a ladder into the HR industry. Okay. All right. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Chinyenwa, you said, is there a group for entry-level HR? That same group that I mentioned to you, we have entry levels for HR. We have a group specially for entry level people, for people who are just coming into HR for the first time. Henry, no problem. Join the Telegram group, then you'll be able to connect with me offline. All right. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we need to end this now. I have had an amazing time. I will be forever grateful. I just called Jane and I said, Jane, about 2-3 weeks ago, I said, Jane, we've got to do this. I'm ready for the February, because I wasn't even so sure I was going to do this every month or whether I was going to do this bi-monthly. I haven't decided yet. And I said, Jane, I'm having one this month anyway. And you know what? We all need to do this. And Jane, can you come and join me? And she just said, how can I say no? And that was it. And that's it. That's what your network does for you. All right. That's what your network. When we talk about this thing of strategically networking, all right, that is what your network. There's some people I can pick up on the phone now, and I just say to them, please, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. And the only reason why I can ask them to do that, there's a brother here who is on this connection. I needed something done for a job I was doing the other day. And I said to him, look, I need a consultant in this area. I'm not a specialist in this area. You are. Can you come and help me? That is a network from how many years back? I mean, we have known each other for over 20-something years. There was something I posted on LinkedIn the other day. He called me. He said, and I'm still calling you on that matter. You know who I'm talking to. He said, this thing that you're saying, maybe we should look at it from this perspective. And I said, okay, let's talk about. And that is your network. So you need to start to think about that. Your network. How valuable is your network? What is your network delivering to you? Is it delivering jobs? Is it delivering connections? There's a friend of mine that I know somebody, all right? That party, she doesn't even have as many of these designer or esoteric degrees but she has a network to die for. Anytime she's in trouble, she just goes to that network. One of her friends will just say to her, you know what, come, I know somebody who's looking for somebody like you. Let's take you to that person. The next thing you know, she's been connected to some massive job that pays sometimes even in dollars. I'm like, what is this? It is the network. All right. So guys, I just want to leave you with one thought. I want to say, first of all, a big thank you to Jane. And I want all of us to say thank you. Either you pop it in the chat or you show it in reactions, or you unmute your mic and you say thank you to Jane. She is one of the most busy executives that you can think of in this world. But she's taking off 2.5 hours of her time, more than 2.5 hours, in fact, of her time to come here to talk to you. Please appreciate Jane. And from time to time, I'm going to be bringing my friends. Don't worry, there are even some of them on this call today. I'm coming for them. They know themselves. I don't know whether they've left or they're still here. I will call them and I will tell them to come. Please come and talk to people. That is my network. I will leverage my network to give you the best. All right. So thank you, Jane. We appreciate you. I love you tremendously. You remain my friend, my sister for life. I will come to you always. All right.
Thank you, Emma. I really had fun. I really enjoyed the session.
All right. So thank you so much. Okay. And thank you everyone for coming. Join the Telegram group. I can see people are joining. Join the Telegram group. We don't disturb anybody there. We're not asking you to join because we want to sell or market anything to you, but saying join because it's a place where you will get very good information. The materials for this thing, I will pop them in. Everybody knows sometimes I could take some time, all right? So I'm not gonna promise 24 hours or whatever. Let's hope that within a week I will, because I'm less, stressed than I was in January. Let's hope this week I will be able to post the materials for the for this meeting. I will post the video. I will also post the training slides that I went to. So please join the group, and then also tell people about this. All right, I either will make this monthly or bi-monthly. This is free. If you are going to pay for it, you will pay a lot of money. All right, for this session, it's free. Come with your friends. come with whether you like it or not. This area of career is a big problem that a lot of people are facing. So thank you so much for coming. I hope to see all of you again, either possibly in March or April. I don't know when now, but I will let you know, okay? But hopefully we'll be back again next month if I can free up some time to do this. Thank you so much. Please come back. Take care, everybody. It was wonderful networking with you today and interacting with you and connecting with you. Take care and God bless and have a good night. God bless and have a good night. Take care.